What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back. It's Tactical Wednesday. Inky's here. She's making noises, so that's fun. And it's Imperium Day. All the Imperium stuff's out, so we get to talk about that. All right, what are we starting with? Grey Knights, Admech, Sisters, Custodes, Militarum, Custodes again, Admech. Militarum again. Grey Knights. Oh my god. All right. We might just like random number generator it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7. So ready? I actually wonder, should we start with Imperial Agents first? Just because it's like easy? No, I'm just gonna do this. Ready? Here we go. We're gonna go down the line. 1. All right, well, that was easy. It's Grey Knights! Let's go. Inky, you can open the door. I've seen you do it 100 times. You just don't want to. Yeah, I know. I know what's up. I know what's up. This cat, chat. This cat is so squeaky. I don't know if you can hear her, actually. I don't know if she picks up in my headset microphone, but she is caterwauling up a storm right now because the door's closed, even though she can open it. Yeah, I know you can open it. I also, before we jump in too far, I want to apologize that we were a little bit late today. I went out just before the stream to run an errand, and there's like an intersection sort of in the downtown area, just a couple blocks away from where I live. Got stopped up a little bit there because there's a turtle trying to cross the road. So I stopped my car, I went to pick it up, and I brought it to like a local little pond, which was cute. I think it was just a red ear slider, though, which is not that exciting. But it was a cute little turtle. So not a tortoise, to be fair. And actually, definitely a turtle, so not quite the same. But it was a detour. It was an interesting little excursion. Cool. Mispronounced guard. If they wanted to be called Imperial Guard, chat, they would have called it Imperial Guard, but it's called Astra Militarum, and you know that's all there is. Look at this wild Grey Knight art, by the way. Look at all these like weird Egyptian hieroglyphs on this thing. This is insane. Wild. Also, these are definitely not in very straight lines. All right, Grey Knights. We can teleport them. That's sweet. And they automatically advance 6 inches. That's also sweet. It's interesting that like the whole faction's gonna get the teleport a bunch of times rule, but only this detachment will get the teleport 6 inches when you advance rule. In this fight phase, you can get devastating wounds on your psychic weapons. Everybody loves devastating wounds. Definitely no controversy about the devastating wounds rule. Death from the warp can grant assault, and you get +1 to hit. Okay, so it works if you advanced deep strike or teleport. So anytime you do a teleporty thing, I guess, which makes sense. Prognosticated arrival, 3 inches away from enemy models. Let's go. And Halo and Soulfire can't be targeted by ranged attacks unless you're within 12, but you use it when you teleport. Or use it before the model is set up. That's kind of wild. I don't think the movement phase doesn't have the same command phase clause where it only counts movement phase things during the movement step. So fortunately, I think you can just use this when you put the unit down. But if you couldn't, it'd be really weird and annoying. A psyker can move 6 inches. Whoa. After an enemy unit embeds a normal move advance or fall back within 9, you can move up to 6 inches or be placed into strategic reserves. What the fuck? That's bizarre. Okay. So you can just like deep strike in or whatever, charge something, blow it up. If your opponent doesn't like moves near you at all, you just disappear. Grey Knights just they're just Eldar now. Just moving around. And then True Silver Armor is just Armor of Contempt. Yeah, it does just reduce enemy AP by 1. All right, fair enough. But Grey Knights do have higher armor saves, right? So it's probably a little bit better. They nerfed Deathwatch Mortals at the end of the article. Did they actually? There's a very slight update to the Deathwatch data sheets. What? That's, I mean, okay, real talk. That's fucking awesome. That's so cool. Dude, what? What do they do? Oh, excluding devastating wounds. That's so sick. That's, oh my god, dude. So Hellfire Rounds no longer does mortal wounds. Well, my tier list video is already out of date. For Space Marine chapters. Who expected that? Are you kidding me? That's wild. All right. Can we get some like buffs to the Tyranid index now, please? That's wild. They haven't changed reduced damage 1. So, from what I've been told, damage reduction will be covered in the designer notes document. I apparently that's been discussed on other live streams. So, I'm going to like this is the Hellfire Rounds was clearly a balance thing, right? Like I don't, in my opinion, I don't think like a lot of people are complaining about the interaction between anti and devastating wounds because like, oh, anti automatically triggers devastating wounds and that's toxic. But they design that into the game, and a lot of profiles in the game use that. And if you change that, it gets really busted. You have to like redesign a lot of weapon profiles from the ground up, and it's kind of a nightmare. I don't think the issue is that interaction. I think the issue is assigning that interaction to profiles that are already too good. And I think this is a good example of that. So I don't think that this isn't a core rule, right? This isn't a core rule change that needs to get to happen. So I think that any like game wide interaction that we still have questions about, I would wait until the designer note document before I like burn the world down. I have like a whole page of notes of things that are like super disgustingly busted in this game. And I don't think it's worth discussing until we know how the designer notes document happens. But I don't know why I opened this twice. But honestly, just the fact that they made this change so quickly, right? 48 hours from the release of the Space Marine stuff, it's already changed. And I think that's so insanely good. That's just awesome. And if they continue to like, and honestly, like this is the benefit of a digital rule set, right? Like they can just repair mistakes that they make instantaneously. It's almost like people have been hollering for the game to move, like transition to this mode for years, and this is the reason. So you can fix the dumb typos you make. That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, this edition's if they repair this stuff this quickly, this edition's gonna be fucking nuts. I did see that one of the data sheets has minimum of 1 written into it, but honestly, that's like feels like a copy pasta from the 9th edition, codex, right? They didn't add a minimum of 1 to anything else, right? I assume. That would surprise me. Like they've been I don't know. They've certainly like copy pasted a lot of stuff in the past. Next, they need to change Dark Angel Hellblaster impulsors. They need to change. Yeah, they need to fix the impulsor rule for sure, where you could just double tap Hellblasters when they kill themselves, or when they kill their transport. That's the real question. Right now, because the transport fires their weapons, you don't select the unit to fire. They're still eligible to be selected to shoot after their transport fires their guns for them. So if the transport dies during your shooting phase, you just disembark the Hellblasters and then shoot with them. And the easiest way to kill your own transport is by overcharging your Hellblaster guns. So that could get a little bit funky. Yeah, they need to fix the Space Wolf typos for sure. I agree with that. Indeed. Anyone playtesting without minimum 1 damage is wasting your time. Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, your units are way better, right? Like, if the intention is that they reduce damage to 0, then your minimum damage stuff is just any damage reduction is just like insanely powerful. So you might as well just assume that it's less powerful until you get confirmation that it is super strong. All right. Anyway, we're talking about Grey Knights. First to the fray lets you deep strike on turn 1. Great. That's all. I love that. Fuck me. Domina Liber Demonica. +1 to wound. And +1 damage against demons in melee. Inescapable Wrath, +1 to charge. But you can't combo those. You can't get an 8-inch charge on turn 1. Sigil of Exigence is just the way that it was before. They're kind of uninspired, honestly. Like, +1 to wound is like... Or, yeah, like, +1 to wound in melee, +1 to charge. Like, okay, cool. How exciting. What a time. Caldor Drago is a 4+ Fiona pain against mortal wounds. Otherwise, once per battle, when the mono's unit declares a charge, the same turn was set up in the reinforcements. Add 3 to the charge roll. Fuck yeah, okay. All right, Caldor Drago. Love you. I kind of like that he's less of a support dude, because it was always kind of weird that he was like a support guy. Because right, his whole deal was that he was like just lost in the warp and like super soloing a bunch of greater demons. So it was always a little bit strange that he was like, guys, I'm giving everybody rerolls. But he's T5, 7 wounds, 4+ invulnerable save. He's kind of easy to kill. Anti-demon 2+. Let's go. On his melee weapon. Poor demons. They don't deserve this kind of treatment. Grandmaster Voldus, who is leading unit, gets +1 to hit. Strength 10, AP 2, 3 damage. What's the Titan swords? AP 3, 4. All right. That's solid, but only strength 8. Nah. Give me strength 10 any day. He does mortal wounds, start a fight phase. Little Wolf and Dreadnought action. He doesn't have a ranged attack. I guess it's supposed to be this engagement range thing, but he doesn't have a ranged psychic power, which is a little bit weird. Are enhancements going to be static points across all factions? Yes. Yes, indeed. It looks like from the spoilers we've gotten so far, it looks like enhancements are between like 15 and 25 points probably. So if you buy all 3, you're probably out like 50 to 75, most likely. The Grand Master ignores characteristic modifiers and has rights of battle once per game. Okay. You're worse than Space Marines. Get wrecked. The GMNDK, we already saw this guy. He gets a bunch of bonuses against monsters and vehicles. Wow, it's once per battle. Not once per battle round. Pretty wild. You deep strike a land raider with first to the fray. I don't believe so. It's worded a little bit funny because it discusses the transport they're embarked within, but then it says that unit, which either could be referring to the transport or the bearers unit. And I feel like it is referring to the bearers unit. I don't believe it would refer to the transport. But I'm not 100% sure. That might need a clarification. That's a strange wording. Castle and Crow. You get +1 attacks to Purifying Flames, because he can only join Purifiers. All right, fair enough. Once per turn, he Impossible Robes something. Each turn, that's really good. He's a little tough to kill. Doesn't fight on death anymore, and his melee weapon's kind of whatever. He does have Devastating Wounds, though. Purifying Flame, Anti-Infantry 2+. Ew. Alright. Yeah, this is the profile we saw before. So they get that in addition to their Stormbolter. So they're good at sweeping infantry. And he attacks 4 times with it when he's in a unit. So that's something. At least it has an 18-inch range, not like 6 like it did previously. Why does the Nemesis try not hit on 3s? Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like a big, weird vehicle. Brother Captain Stern. Can you still buy this model? This model's old as fuck. Let's see a unit. On a critical wound, with melee attacks, you do a mortal wound in addition to normal damage. So he gives you old Tide of Convergence. The first time he's destroyed, he respawns. 6 to wound, doing normal damage is pretty okay. And a Brother Captain gives sustained 1 with only psychic weapons, but it does include their smites and stuff. And then when he makes an attack with a psychic weapon, he rerolls the wound roll. That's pretty good, but he's only 4 attacks. And he doesn't have a psychic offensive power. It's so weird what they decided to give the psychic offensive powers. It feels kind of random. Brotherhood Champion grants fight first. All right, now we're talking. Unfortunately, I think he only joins the mini Marine squads, Purgators, and Strikes, which is a little bit sad. And you reroll hits and wins against characters, and he's got a precision weapon, so he's a duelist guy. Metal came out when you were in middle school. I think that came out. Yeah, I was like a little baby boy when that came out. I wasn't even playing 40k when that model came out. I remember distinctly looking at that model and thinking it was cool, but I wanted to give him a helmet. And I think I have a Brother Captain Stern model in my Grey Knights army, but I think it's been converted into just a regular character, a Brother Captain. All right, Libby has a 1-shot, 3 damage psychic power. These psychic powers are uninspiring. 4+ feel no pain against psychic attacks, and oh, well, he does a billion mortal wounds. Okay, Jesus Christ. 1 enemy unit within 18 invisible. On a 2+, it takes 2d3 mortals. On a 6, it takes 2d6. Jesus. Can we just take 3 Brotherhood Librarians? It's every Psyker. This isn't once per turn. So you just vomit 3 of those things? It's like the equivalent of 6 smites. What the fuck? Okay, are you serious? I guess that is true, chat. Yeah, this guy does work on his big gun with his focused mind. You just do it on a side cannon? Like strength 8, AP 1, 2 damage? Maybe. You can't do it on an incinerator for some reason, because it doesn't let you. And then the chaplain. You get +1 to wound. And -1 non-battle shock attacks. Okay, boring. Boring. Give me more cool mortal wounds powers. Let's go. Each time a model in the unit makes a charge move until the end of the turn, melee weapons get lethal hits. Alright. For Brotherhood Terminators. If you have a banner, you get +1 objective control, and they can regenerate people. Sustained hits, we don't know if sustained hits stack, champ. We have no idea. That is one of those questions for the big document, for sure. We don't know if they give you two additional hits if you roll a critical, which I assume it would be. I like the idea of the numerical keyword stacking, but we have no idea if that's actually going to be the case. Can I do another zoom in here and get a little bit closer? Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, the OC3 Terminators is good. I wonder if you can get it on Paladins. They don't regenerate, which is weird if they're Paladins. They're also the same defensive profile. Oh, but they have like the mini transhuman. Boring. And they have the same weapons too. That's weird. Kind of feels like Terminators and Paladins are just the same unit. I guess they are. Yeah, all right. Well, a little funky. Strikes have objective control or objective secured. Purifiers have a grim demeanor. And then they also have the little gun. Regular servitors. Venerable Dreadnought gets hit and wound rerolls of 1. So this is like the thing that the Space Wolf guy does. The Space Wolf Dreadnought has the hit and wound aura, but the regular Space Marine Dreadnought is only hits, but it's the same worded ability. I don't love that. Give it a different name. More special weapons in the Paladins? Alright. I guess that's fair. But the special weapons, I don't know. I'm not that jazzed about the special weapons, I guess. The Interceptor Squad in your shooting phase. After it has shot, it can make a normal move up to 6. That's a very good ability. Plus their base move 12. Yeah, Interceptors are a little good. Just fast. Purgators. In your shooting phase, ranged weapons have indirect fire, provided the target is visible to a Grey Knight Psyker. But they, yeah, there's no like interesting character combos with these guys that pump the damage of their or the offensive power, right? Because they're I guess like you can guarantee a sustained hits 1, but he can only join Terminators. Crow can only join Purifiers. Yeah, basically the characters only buff Terminators. So going back to the differentiation between Paladins and Terminators, it does feel like you're meant to start, I don't know. It feels like you're meant to start the Terminators on the battlefield, but you're meant to teleport these guys because they have this charge move buff. So you can put like Drago in with a bunch of these dudes and then sort of guarantee a charge out of Deep Strike. And then run away into the warp. Strikes of a 6-inch scout. That's pretty good. Yeah. Nice. All right, where are we at? Interceptors. So the interesting thing that I've sort of noticed about this ability these fast units is that they feel less useful than they did in 9th edition, just because of the fact that the addition's so lethal to infantry. So like 5 interceptors want to be going and like jumping on objectives, but they just die to Overwatch. Hopefully with a 2+ save, they're a little bit tankier. But I have been a little surprised at how little I valued the extra movement over just being more resilient. But maybe they're fine. It also depends on points cost too. You don't really want them to be a throwaway utility unit if they're super expensive. So the Purgators, we've determined don't have any buffs that you can grant them. And I don't know if focusing on like Strength 8, AP1 psychic weapons that get indirect fire but don't ignore cover is particularly good, because your opponent's just always saving on whatever their base save is. Terminators do seem better. It's weird that the Paladins are tankier but don't have the regeneration. Like, I don't know. Like, you're incentivized to put them on the table and try to tank with them, but you don't have the ability to regenerate guys back. So you're like, well, I guess I would just take it with a unit that is more offensively oriented and still regenerates people. It's very strange. So the base Dread Knight is a big dude. Can fall back and charge. So how does he compare to the Grandmaster? Are his attacks the same? There's 5 attacks with the Greatsword and 6 with the Dread Fists. And the Nemesis Grandmaster is literally identical. That's interesting. You just lose out on the special abilities? Huh. Well, the special abilities are a pretty big deal, because they certainly help out that kind of... He's a little inconsistent in melee, but they really like hyper-focus them at trying to blow up big stuff. Psychic attacks are always worse than a normal weapon with the same stats. Yeah, the difference is that psychic attacks, for the most part, you get psychic attacks in addition to normal attacks. But like theoretically, that should be baked into the cost of the unit. So it's kind of weird that, I don't know. It feels like Psychers are like paying for the sins of previous editions, where they're just like, well, you're just a regular character, but you're worse in every way, because all of your abilities have like keywords that trigger defensive stuff. But theoretically, I think a Psyker character, like a librarian's supposed to do more damage than a normal character. And to be fair, the Brotherhood librarian in this faction looks fucking nuts. So those guys look incredible. Here's a Land Raider. It's a Land Raider. Here's a Crusader. Here's a Redeemer. It's weird they don't have a picture of the Redeemer. Wasn't like the OG Redeemer a Grey Knights Land Raider? Did that start as a Grey Knights unit? Razorbacks, Rhinos, Stormraven, or Stormhawks. Storm Talons. Storm Ravens. Alright, boring. I don't know how to feel about Grey Knights. They're very maneuverable. I think they come down a lot to points, because Grey Knights previously have always been this kind of like horde mode army where you just overwhelm your opponent with endless strike marines. Their shooting is terrible. Like, unironically, not very good. Where's the base Dread Knight again? Yeah, that's exactly the same shooting, too. But the fact that all their shooting's like AP0, AP1 is just killer. It really doesn't do that much damage. I'm really impressed by these librarians, though. I feel like you just windmill slam 3 of these guys in every list, and then you just teleport them in and start blowing people up. And then you force your opponent to like shoot individual tiny characters who are probably like 80 points. And then they just get frustrated. The rhinos should be firing deck 2 if they're like the other rhinos. Yeah. You can shoot 2 guys out the top. The Grey Knight Land Raider is the Banisher. Oh, I guess it is different. The Forge World one? Thousand Suns have had the best psychers for sure. Definitely. Definitely agree with that. Yeah, they actually have benefits for psychic weapons, and these guys like they can give them sustained hits, right? Like okay. Yeah, you can do like mortal wounds, can buff their purifying flames. And psychic weapons get sustained 1. Yeah, so it's like all right. They get one character gives like 1/3 of what Thousand Suns does. But I think this is the faction you have to see on the table because the teleport assault is like so insane. It's hard to really like assess value for these data sheets because the teleport assault is so strong. Just being able to redeploy 3 units every turn is like you can never like your backline's always in danger. You can't obsec objectives and just leave them because you're the Green Knight player just teleports onto them. Yeah, it's like kind of sweet. Yeah, what gives the melee weapon? What gives the melee devastating wounds? They don't have it built in, right? There's a character. I'm already forgetting what these characters do. The other weird thing is like they have no lieutenant effects, right? Or so they can't double up any characters. Like I think you would want to add a chaplain and Drago to like a big Terminator brick, and so you confirm the charge of a deep strike and get like a big bonus to wound. Oh, this stratagem, of course. Yeah. But you're not re-rolling, right? So like also it's 2 CP for 1 unit. It's actually not that good of a stratagem. 2 command points. Ew. I don't know. I guess I'm like uninspired by Grey Knights, but I think we'd have to see them play on the table. All right, what are we gonna do next, chat? Yeah, 2 CP is tough. Well, if you're a Grey Knights player, at least you can rest easy in the knowledge that you're not as bad as Tyranids. So there you go. Does the Librarian feel no pain work against their own perils? I don't believe so, because it works against. Is it mortal wounds or psychic attacks? It's probably psychic attacks, right? That's what the normal hood does. Yeah. So it itself is not a psychic attack; it's a psychic ability. That could be like FAQ'd to work, but I don't believe that it does. 2 people said in order. Oh, just because they want to see Astra Militarum. I see how it is. I'm gonna count you guys for Astra Militarum. 1, 2, 3, 4 for guard, 5 for guard. Oh, guard are winning, chat. Oh, 4 for Admech. Oh, now Admech is winning. More guard. All right, we're doing guard. Let's go. We might do a kind of a quick run through because guard I think has 1,000 data sheets. This is a 130-page document. If it will load. Oh boy. Uh-oh. This segment might be so big it's frozen. Jesus Christ. All right. So they get orders. So you can +1 to hit a melee, +1 to hit it ranged attack, +1 rapid fire, +1 save. Take cover works in melee, which is kind of wild. And +1 objective control are the available orders. We've seen these already, the enhancements. Honestly, the enhancements are kind of whatever. Like an additional order is fine. The critical hit on a 5+ is fine, but you have to remain stationary, which is a little bit tough. And then like Hero's equivalent. I think you just like windmill slam these two and call it a day, honestly. And I think we've seen all their stratagems, right? You can suppress people. You can get +1 AP. You can ignore indirect penalty, or get +1 to hit with indirect. So if you already aren't suffering the indirect penalty, actually just hit on +1 instead of just negating it. Issue a command out of phase and reduce damage from the attacks. Lord Solar we've seen. Ursula Creed. Get up to 2 orders. That's cool. And she issues double to regiments. Does the order stack with heavy? So it works like it did in last edition. You can't get you can't net to more than a +1, but you can ignore penalties with multiple bonuses to hit. So if you're heavy and have +1, then you basically ignore -1 to hit. You ignore stealth effectively. Once per battle round, you get she has rights of battle. Sick. Can confirm that's a good ability. The Castellan ranged weapons get sustained 1. Then you can fall back and shoot. They really want to push you into like playing that death mask. Get like remain stationary, lethal hits on 5s, exploding hits on 5s. But remaining stationary with a big guard brick seems a little bit tough. What does he join? Kazarkin? I don't know how you like. I don't know how you get to it, like take a position and then be able to stand there. Tank commander can order once to squadrons. Importantly, he is not himself a squadron unit, so he can't issue to himself. 2+, it shoots as if it were your shooting phase. Woo! Hot damn, tank commander, calm down. Oh, but he just has a battle cannon? Boring. Oh, but he can take any of the big guns. All right, fair enough. We'll talk about those later, I'm sure. Platoon command squad. We've seen these guys already. Acadian command squad ignores characteristic modifiers. The base one doesn't do anything, right? Well, I guess you can target people with stratagems even when they're battle shocked. No, that doesn't feel like a particularly impactful ability, but who knows? Oh, the order improves ballistic skill. Doesn't give you a hit roll. Oh, you're right, chat. Yeah, so you can stack with another bonus. That's a good call. Colonel Strachan. He can, I imagine, only join catechins. Yeah, unfortunately, he just improves his own unit. So he grants lethal hits. And you get full rerolls for himself. Like, he's okay in melee. He's actually better than most Space Marines, which is pretty good. It is kind of strange that there is a generic infantry squad and an Acadian. Because the Acadian's, like, The generic infantry squad is just uses the Cadian kit, right? So you're just like you just have to tell your opponent which one you have. It's kind of weird. We've seen this guy. He gives you a 4+ fail no pain against psychic and a 4+ vulnerable save, which is great. Gaunt's Ghosts, Infiltrator, Stealth, Fight First. They have Lone Operative and they are a character. Interesting. But they can't join anything, so they're just solid. They can't be targeted outside 12. That's kind of weird, but okay. You get stealth and benefit of cover. And their base saves are 4, so they go to... Oh, the base guys are base 5, so they go to 4. Lame. And you can remove them from the battlefield at the end of your opponent's turn and set them up again. I do wonder, with all of the OBSEC stuff and like locking objectives now, I do wonder if that's actually super relevant, these kind of abilities. Because then you can just pop people up in people's backline and steal objectives from them. They get 2 orders to issue, and they can issue them to themselves. So they can actually put the 5-up save guys to a 3-up if they give themselves +1 save. Well, their guns are kind of whatever, though. This one's pretty good. Heavy precision, strength 5, AP 2, 4 damage. Okay. A lot of attacks, and they hit on 3s, but it's all kind of low stats. Seems like a useful unit, at least. Attaches. Oh, this is a whole unit of people. Do they join into a unit? They join a command squad. They count as part of the command squad. And they're destroyed if there's no command squad for them to join. That's funny. Grant sustained hits 1 to artillery units. +1 to hit to aircraft. And the astropath removes people. That stops people from deep striking. Okay. And not the astropath model specifically, not the unit, which is kind of funky. Ogren Bodyguard. Any officer model that has lost 1 or more wounds, you get +1 to hit and wound. Oh my god, cat. Oh, Inky. No. She's knocking stuff over. Definitely not as tanky as they were in last edition, for sure. And they have the same ability. Yeah, they can jump into units. So if you wanted to... attach a bunch of stuff to a command squad, you could make them really big, I bet. Hey, Nork Deadod gets the big, the mortal wound ability. That's cool. You grant 4+ feel no pain to officers. Is it the same as this guy? Yeah. So he gets, the regular bodyguard gets mad when you wound his officer, but that seems like it's difficult to do. But Norkus just does a bunch of mortal wounds, which does feel a little bit better. Plus he's got an okay gun. The base infantry squad gets cover on objectives. The shock troops have objective secured. The Death Corps have the Grim Demeanor thing. Kadich and Jungle Fighters get 6-inch scout and +1 strength and armor piercing on the charge, but their attacks suck, so I think they're just dead on arrival, unfortunately. Slime Arbo. He can shoot at somebody each time you target an Astra Militarum unit within 3. So you can just keep firing forever. He's lone operative in stealth and infiltrator. And each time he's shot, he can make a normal move. Oh my god. That's a cool combination of abilities. So he's just like running and gunning. If you shoot any military units near him, he shoots and then moves. I love that. It's very evocative. You can definitely envision the Sylvester Stallone, like the bullets are flying around him and he's like running and shooting. I understand. I get it. Kazurkan, how broken are you guys? Once per battle at the start of any phase. Oh, they have a mine that they can throw. So in your command phase, you select one order to affect this unit until the start of your next command phase, in addition to other orders issued to this unit by an officer. Whoa, that's pretty good. And they're base 4+ save, so they're either like permanently a 3+ save, or they're permanently like 2+ ballistic skill, depending on what else other you have. What else do you have access to? Hotshot las guns are only AP1 though. That's not very good. Yeah, I'm not that excited about Kazurkan, honestly. It's a little sad. My favorite looking unit. Preacher grants sustained hits 1 to melee weapons. Who cares? And he can reroll his hit rolls. He can join sort of normal units, whatever. Sergeant Harker grants -1 to be hit. He has a 6+ feel no pain, but only 3 wounds. Okay. Once per battle, when he's selected to shoot, he can gain 6 shots, sustained hits 3 instead of sustained hits 1. But he can't attach with Iron Hand Strachan. I guess that's kind of makes sense. But you would sort of I was a little hoping that you could like stack a bunch of characters on the Catachin Jungle Fighters and make them all really good. But it doesn't feel like there's anything like the Jungle Fighters have anything going on for them, honestly. And really just like once per game he gets a cool shot with his heavy bolter, but also like it's just a normal heavy bolter. Which is not that exciting. A normal heavy bolter is not a particularly inspiring profile in 10th ed. Regimental Engineers give a vehicle a 4+ invulnerable save with no targeting restrictions. It is vehicle model, so if you have multi-model units, and we've seen Sentinels can multi-combo together, right? So you can give one Sentinel a 4+ invulnerable save, which is alright, I guess. And he is the same, gets angry if vehicles die. Servitors we've seen. The Commissar can kill people 12 inches away and unbattle shock them. And he can only issue Duty and Honor and fixed bayonets. Duty and Honor is +1 OC, right? Yeah. So he's kind of like a standard. He just gives you +1 OC, basically. But you can switch it for +1 hits if you want. These guys go to AP2, rapid fire 3, so they shoot 6 times at close range. AP2 is like starting to be okay, but it's only strength 5 is a little bit awkward. Just the heavy bolter profile. Here's the minimum of 1 people are talking about, right? These guys are kind of whatever in melee. Ratlings Can make a move after the shoot. We've seen their profile before. Not that exciting. Jungle Fighters could really use a new kit. Yeah, the Jungle Fighter kit is awful looking. It looks so bad. I think they like purposefully only put one model on the Jungle Fighter datasheet, right? Yeah. They're like, we painted up one really nicely, and we did as like, we tried as hard as we could to make it not look awful, and that's the one guy that goes on the datasheet instead of the OG like 30-year-old paint job that they have on the other ones. Rough Riders, ignore movement modifiers and penalties to advance and charge rolls. Okay. You can't suppress them. Get wrecked. They hit on 3s, so you can make them hit on 2s. And they have one guy gets a goad lance, which is strength 6 AP2. So the strength 9 AP4 D6 damage. But they don't get, there's no buffs to wound. Nah. I think you're just shooting people. I don't know if you're melee that hard with this faction, especially since tanks can shoot out of melee now. So like engaging them doesn't even do anything. Oh, he's not even from the Catachin kit? That's hilarious. That's so funny. That guy on the Catachin datasheet? Amazing. They didn't even want to take one of those guys and gussy him up. They just use a different model. Scout Sentinels. Yeah, we've seen these guys that give +1 rerolls to artillery or to indirect fire, which is great. Armored Sentinels. Scout Sentinels, 3+ armor, OC2. These guys only move 8, but they're 2+ save. Why? That's so stupid. And reroll wounds against monsters and vehicles? Okay. At least they're 4+ ballistic scale, but they're regiment and squadron, so anybody can order them. Hellhound removes cover from people. That's a legitimately good ability, but it depends on how expensive this guy is, because he only shoots 12 inches. Oh, his big flamer is 18. So he threats pretty far with that effect, which is good. And you can even just do it with the Melt-A-Gun. It's only a strength 9 Melt-A-Gun, though. Rogaldorn. Once per battle, you can change a damage characteristic to 0. That's kind of cool. You just can't get Laser Destroyered off the table. 18 wounds. OC5. T12 with a 2+ save. Man, these things are a fucking tank. D6 plus 3. Strength 12, AP2, 3 damage. Pulverizer, Strength 9, AP3, 3 damage. Honestly, their weapon profiles are not that impressive, but they are survivable. Oh, that's fair. They can mount the Hellhounds can mount the regular guns on the hull. I guess that's pretty good. Yeah. That does give them a little bit more operational ability. So honestly, like, I think people were like freaking out about the engine seer, right? We're just like, oh my god, 4+ invuln save. It's crazy on all these vehicles. These like tanky vehicles. Except all the vehicles are 2+ armor, and I mean this is 10th edition. Everyone's in cover all the time, so every vehicle is a 1+ armor save basically. So you have to be AP4 before the 4+ invulnerable save actually starts to come into effect. So I actually don't think a 4+ invulnerable save is particularly exciting on any of these. Unless your opponent has like mass ignore cover or something that you can't deal with. Then it's like, okay. I think you bring one just in case for like the matchups where somebody's just rocking a bunch of Melt-A-Guns at you, but mathematically it's not actually that big of a buff, honestly. Why is the underslung cannon +1 AP? Yeah, it's like a demolisher cannon, right? Demolisher cannon, but it's a light demolisher cannon, and those have always like supposed to be like fortification destroyers, so they always have like this high AP value for whatever reason. That's just like kind of the theme. Demolisher battle cannon is just the same as the Demolisher cannon. And he can shoot people in engagement range. So this guy's just a Vindicator. Basically, exactly. Just a Vindicator. But he does... There's no land speeders, right? So we don't get, like, ignore cover, +1 to hit. You can give him +1 to hit. And you can use the Hellhound to remove cover. But these guys don't affect blast weapons, only indirect. Yeah, all their buffs are just indirect. Field ordnance batteries. They are regiment now, so you can order them. That's great. And they get sustained hits one while they're being affected by an order. Either strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. Just a las cannon. Strength 14 las cannon. Oh, 2 shots. That's pretty good. Or a Malleus rocket launcher, which is D6 + 6 blast, whatever. Those profiles aren't great. Big las cannon's good, but otherwise, I don't know. Kind of meh. Yeah, a 2+ doesn't benefit from cover against AP0, but an AP0 doesn't do anything against a 2+. To answer the question, chat. That's I'm gonna have to do a video on that interaction because a lot of people misunderstand that one. I'll have a video this week about terrain and cover because the terrain rules in 10th edition are kind of funky. So we'll have to talk about them so that people can sort of wrap their heads around it. Lehman Russ Battle Tank gets rerolls against people on objectives. We've seen those guys before. We already saw the Demolisher, the Vanquisher, rerolls wound rolls against monsters and vehicles. That's pretty good. Is the Vanquisher cannon good? 1 shot, strength 18, AP 4, D6 + 6. That's pretty good. Kind of wish it rerolled hit rolls instead of wound rolls because it wounds most things on 2s or 3s, and you can like command point it. But that's all right. Punisher gets devastating wounds against non-monsters and vehicles. 20 shots, strength 6, AP 1, AP0, 1 damage. But no rerolls available to it, which is really what you want with devastating wounds. Executioner gets +1 below half strength. Anything that has Executioner in its name is basically that now. Exterminator. 1 unit hit with its autocannon. You get +1 AP against it. That gives the Exterminator something to do. And at least it's rapid fire 4 twin linked. So it shoots 8 shots rerolling. And if you pull cover off of them, it actually could do a little bit of damage. I kind of like 0 to 1 Exterminators. +1 AP is a good buff. Eradicator can shoot its melee with itself. Okay. And then it's blast, ignore cover, strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. Yeah, who cares? It's not a particularly strong profile. The old Basilisk shakes people. Yeah, we saw these guys before. Hydra rerolls against Fly, and they're anti-Fly 2+. But only 4 shots, unless it has 2 Hydra autocannons. No, it has 1. That's not that many shots. I liked when it used to Overwatch flyers coming in. That was kind of fun. Yeah, you can stack with the strat for AP2. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think like it definitely feels like Guard want to take up a smattering of everything and then like combo all their attacks together. So you can be like ignore cover, like Hellhound to remove cover, like obviously orders to give bonuses, Exterminator to give +1 AP, and then you like let her rip with like Armored Sentinels or something that get rerolls. so you can punch through armor. I do like I like the theme. I like the mechanics. Kills 2 Space Marines a turn with the Hydra. Yeah. Whoa. What a gun. Incredible. Yeah, this thing seems sort of like just super bad. I don't know. The Manticore rerolls hits. It's like a super blast. It rerolls hits against big units. It's blast, indirect fire. But it's not one shot anymore. You just fire them. So that's nice. It's easy to keep track of. That's a solidly good indirect fire profile too. Strength 10, AP 2. And it's heavy. Doesn't ignore cover, so you still get cover, but at least it's AP 2. Manticore might just be the best indirect fire in this faction. It's D6 plus 3 versus D6 plus 1 for the Manticore, but you're 2 higher strength, so you actually wound vehicles. Yeah, I think I like Manticore. You trade the 2 shots and the shaken ability for much higher strength. And the situational rerolls. The Wyvern can suppress people. This one seems fine. It is twin linked, but it's kind of low attack volume, only 2d6. Anti-air weapons are good at shooting things like warp spiders. Do warp spiders have fly? If so, well, I guess they would win them on 2s anyway, so it doesn't really matter even if they do. That's always been kind of the way of things with anti-aircraft weapons. Like flak autocannons are always just like, if autocannons are good, then the flak weapons are good because they're all just autocannon profiles. It definitely doesn't feel like anti-fly was insane in like 8th edition, like early 9th, where literally you could only take units with the fly keyword because everything else was garbage. And so anything that was like got a bonus against fly just was permanently activated. You always saw like Riptide battlesuits always took like the upgrade they give them +1 hit against fly because like 98% of the things that you would shoot at would have fly. Has there been any rules about the deployment of fortifications? As to my knowledge, fortification is just a keyword. There are no special rules regarding fortifications. They just deploy normally. Some of them, as we've seen, have had infiltrators, so they can deploy out of your deployment zone, but not all of them do. So I believe that fortifications are just a normal unit now, which is good. Which is, I mean, how they always should have been, to be fair. The Chimera can get orders issued through it. The Thorax we've seen. Valkyrie. The end of your movement phase, whenever units embarked onto it can disembark if they have deep strike. Oh, end of your opponent's movement phase. Why would... Okay. Why would you want to do that? That just feels worse than... I guess like they don't take the like vehicle destroyed check if they disembark, if the Valkyrie goes down. The end of your opponent's movement phase. What is the situation in which that would be useful? Where it's not like the Valkyrie's just dying. Yeah. No, you can't set up you can set up Overwatch for the charge phase, but the opportunity's already passed to Overwatch their movement phase. Heavy? I mean, sure. But you just like you're open to be shot at. Like I guess if you're like, "Oh, I'll set myself up now because so like I can shoot my opponent better." Then your opponent will just shoot you and your unit will be dead. So you might as well have held them in the Valkyrie. That's so weird. What a bizarre object. What a bizarre. Yeah, I guess it like it lets. Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess it lets you. It lets you deep strike the Valkyrie with the aircraft, like turn 2 aircraft, and then still deep strike the unit out. But it takes a turn. And also, we're not entirely sure even if that's how that works because they've never clarified disembarking from transports. Disembarking from transports is currently broken. It doesn't tell you like when you're allowed to do it, so it's either any time or never, which is kind of weird. It's probably during the movement step, so it probably doesn't work if you deep strike a transport, but nobody actually knows. So I guess you can put the Valkyrie in the air, deep strike it. Your turn goes around, and then you disembark them your opponent's turn. So I think that's the intended play pattern because it's an aircraft. You like deep strike it in your back of your opponent's like battlefield or table edge or whatever, and then you disembark them hopefully out of line of sight or something, and then they go do something. So I get it, I guess, but it is a little bit strange. It's like weird that it's not just like after this unit has been set up. You can't just like drop pod them. I don't know. That would be sort of how I would expect that to work. The Aegis defense line. There's one Aegis defense line in it. You can set up or end moves on top of the platform section of the fortification. While you have the benefit of cover, you have a 4+ vulnerable save. If you're an infantry model. And while enemy units are in engagement range, you can shoot them and stuff. That's interesting. It just says it's one Aegis defense line, but it doesn't. Is that like this section plus this section? Or is it longer? I guess it's just whatever's in the kit, but that's a little bit strange. Yeah, so the question is disembark is during the movement phase, but the question is whether or not like just during the movement phase encompasses your reinforcement step. So currently the rules allow you to deep strike a transport and then disembark the units inside it. But whether or not that is the intention, we don't know. The rules say that a unit counts as moving if a transport has moved. Can they advance after they get out? No. I basically either either you can move or the transport can move, but you can't do both unless you're an impulsor, basically. So you can't move the transport, disembark the unit, move the unit. You can either disembark the unit and move, or you can move the transport and disembark but not move. Baneblade, we've already seen. Bane Hammer. Oh, so the Baneblade's the only one with Rolling Fortress. Huh. Bane Hammer forces battle shock checks within 3 inches of the target. And his strength 12 AP2 3 damage. That's a whatever profile. Bane's sword. Deadly demises people on a 3. Oh, that's sick. What? That's awesome. This thing rocks. Way to go, Bane sword. Strength 16 AP4 4 damage and then blows people up explodes them for extra damage when he kills them. That's awesome. Doom Hammer. You trigger your Melta effects at any range against monsters and vehicles. So it's D3 plus 3, strength 12, AP4, D6 plus 6 damage shots. That's pretty good. I appreciate that these don't feel like auto kills, I guess. Because previously it kind of felt like you were Hellhammer Cannon is uninspiring. Previously, it felt like you would just shoot somebody and they would automatically immediately die, and it doesn't quite feel the same way. Volcano Cannon's still pretty good. Strength 24, AP 5, 12 damage. Oh, and it gets devastating wounds against monster vehicles, so that it could be sort of the same. And I guess, yeah, they aren't squadrons, so they don't have orders available to them, right? So they are just capped on a 4+ to hit. And I don't believe anything buffs their accuracy, right? You could just give them like AP and ignore cover and stuff. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. Can Leontis order them? That's a great question. He is like here. If my PDF would load. Oh, he can order them. That's weird. Okay, well, yeah, fair enough. So they do have orders available. Well, that's a little bit scarier then. Is he the only thing that orders any unit? Tank Commander Squadron, Platoon Commands Regiment, 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 Regiment. Not an officer, not an officer. Yeah, so he's the only thing. Oof. Scout Sentinel gives hit bonuses to indirect fire specifically, I believe. So I don't think that they don't have like the land speeder effect where they're just like buff blast weapons. Yeah, it's only indirect fire. Oh no, it gives reroll ones. It gives ignore penalty for non-indirect fire. Yeah, okay. So you can get +1 to hit and reroll ones on these guys. Okay. So that is pretty scary then. Yeah, the super heavies actually seem unironically pretty good then. If you can super stack them. Well, I guess I spoke too soon. You can definitely buff all their stuff. We just determined that they could be ordered though, chat. Yeah. That was the that was what we determined. You just have to buy a character that you were going to buy anyway. Well, that's pretty good. Stormlord, sustained hits 1 on a heavy bolter. Boring. Get out of here, Stormlord. At least it's firing deck 24. What can it carry? 40 infantry. Heavy weapon teams take 2 models. Evergreen takes a space of 3. I guess you can put 12 heavy weapon teams into it. There you go. Shoot a bunch of las cannons out the back. That gives you pretty like order efficiency, right? Just those are heavy weapons, so as long as the Stormlord remains stationary, they all hit on like 3s if you order it for +1 to hit. That seems pretty good. Engine seer's a must, maybe. I think like you definitely take an engine seer for sure. But again, like these are gonna be a 1+ armor save all the time. The extra saving characteristic isn't amazing, but the healing is good for sure. Storm Sword. Ooh. Blast ignores cover. So it shoots through like everyone's save. Strength 16, AP 4, D6 +2 damage. And does mortal wounds after it shoots. So calm down, Storm Sword. Oh my god. Yeah, these seem great. Militarum Tempestus.
Off topic, but do you think Maliceptor or a better choice with new index? Can only afford one. Also Gaga best Tyrannid unit.
Ryan G, thanks for the super chat. TTS pronouncing Old One Eye is great. Do I think Maliceptor or Old One Eye is a better choice? Old One Eye is definitely good. I don't know if I rate the Maliceptor quite yet. I have to try it, but its gun is like sort of uninspiring, and it like doesn't do anything in melee, which is a little bit awkward. Not sure about gargoyles. I thought they would be good, but they're so squishy that they just die to like random garbage all the time. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm not. I don't know what the best Tyranid unit is. Like Zoanthropes are okay, I think. Carnifexes are okay. Um, and then the support characters like Swarmlord, Hive Tyrant are okay also, but I don't know. None of the Tyranid datasheets are really like sort of particularly inspiring, honestly. Something like AP4 ignore cover from Space Marines. If you don't have an Engineer, they just die. Um, yeah, um, you can get AP3 ignore cover, right? I guess you could like Storm of Fire and then they're AP4 on a lot of stuff. But and it's probably likely that the Engineer is not that expensive anyway, and you'd want him for the healing regardless. So like I don't think that yeah, I think the Engineer is strong for sure. All right, learn Tempestus. Tempestus Ions get reroll hits against people on objectives. They have like kind of crappy hotshot las guns. Mm-mm. And the Torox Prime has fire support. What's its capacity? 12? That might be okay. Because they can source like hit rerolls pretty easily. They're rerolling hits. They have sustained one, and then they can reroll all their wound rolls out of a transport. Oh, but you can't put the command squad in a unit and then also attach it to Tempestus Silence, right? Because the command squad's too big. Yeah, so that'd be 15 models. I guess you would take 7 Tempestus Silence. It's all right, I guess. That's probably expensive and not that great. All right. I like Astra Militarum. I think the Wombo combos are pretty good. Should we just keep moving down the line, chat? One after another? Does the Engine Seer get Lone Operative? It does, right? If you just stand it next to the tank. That is... I can't find him. What the Okay. Yeah. No, they just get Lone Operative. Yeah, I wouldn't be worried about having the Engine Seer get shot. Guard are fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, they seem like solidly good for sure. They definitely don't. I guess like they probably hit equally hard to Space Marines, right? They just don't have the same level of rerolls. I'm a little worried with their ability to like take territory, but just big tankless might be fine. Custodes, sisters, Custodes. Admech. A Nadmech again. Seems like everybody's tied right now. Knights. We got one for Knights. All right. Looks like we're on sisters, maybe. Imperial Agents. Nugatti Knight with the curveball in there. All right. Let's go, sisters. Let's go, sisters. All right. So we have Acts of Faith, which we already knew about. I'm going to skip all this text. They get +1 to hit. Everybody gets Grim Demeanor, basically. Fair enough. Divine Intervention is basically the same. When your character dies, you can set burn Miracle Dice to get them back up. Light of the Emperor. If you're below starting strength, you can ignore modifiers to characteristics. It's kind of boring, but okay. Holy Rage. +1 to wounded melee. That's solid. Spirit of the Martyr. You fight on death. Rejoice the Fallen is the reactive shot. And Suffering and Sacrifice. One infantry or walker has to shoot it. But it's any infantry unit. That's cool. But it's enemy models with an engagement range, so it has to be 1 inch from your person. So awkwardly, if you're like base to base with a model that's bigger than an inch, so you have like the model, the suffering model, and then you have a big enemy model, and then a bunch of people base with that. As long as you have another unit base with it, everyone else can target that unit, which is kind of weird. And then this model has to target that one. I don't know. It's kind of funky. But better than the alternative of it being broken. Saintly Example gets you D3 Miracle Dice when the bearer is destroyed. That's okay. Blade of Saint Eleanor, +1 strength, attack, strength, and damage. If you've lost wounds, +2 instead. It's fine. Mantle of Ophelia is you take 1 damage from everything. And Litanies of Faith. Reroll 1 miracle die from your pool and then return it. If you are leading a unit below half strength, reroll up to 3. Okay, well, that one, you windmill slam that one for sure. That's real strong. Morvi. While you're making an unit, every time they make an attack, reroll the hit roll and the wound roll. Glad that's coming back. Love that. Seems good. And then she has Finest Hour built in. Strength 8, AP2, 3 damage. Not the same profile that it used to be. This is they previewed this earlier, right? And they were like, guys, look at Morphin Vols, new spear profile. Isn't it cool? And everyone's just like, it's like just distinctly worse than it was, but thank you. She fires 2 crack missiles and has a heavy bolter. Pretty good. It changes all damage to 1 against the bearer. So like it saves you like 1 or 2 extra damage, but characters are generally overkill, especially because like these are all 4 wound models. It's really not that. Instead of getting killed by 2 damage, you take 4 2 damage hits instead. Ooh, what a time. Unless there's a character that has a billion wounds in here that can equip that, which I don't imagine there is. Is there like a random like Canoness in Paragon Warsuit we can take here? I don't think there's anything that equips that particularly well. You could reduce damage to 1 against them and then revive them, and then it takes another 3 attacks to kill them. What a time. Oh yeah, what can Morven join? Paragon Warsuits. Let's go. So no Retributors for her, but still good on the Paragons. Canoness grants reroll hit rolls against Sacrosaunts and Battle Sisters. Are Celestians in this index? We'll find out, I guess. It's kind of weird that a Canoness wouldn't be able to join Celestians. And then once per battle, she can grant herself a 2+ invulnerable save. She can get CP regen on a 4 and a 4+ feel no pain against psychic. Kind of whatever. Although the Condemner bolt gun is just seems pretty solid. It's just a combi weapon, but it's anti-psyker, so it's good against like big demons and stuff. I do think that, there's got to be some matchups where anti-psyker is super sick. The Palatine gets a 6-inch scout move, as we talked about. Canada's doesn't have that randomly, right? Yeah. She grants lethal hits and can join dominions, which is why she has 6-inch scout and novitiates. Does lethal hits actually get like? I think if you are a 3+ base weapon skill and this is lethal, not sustained. Actually, lethal's a really good ability to have, so I think that's solid. It's too bad you can't double up her with the Canoness, yeah. So you can't get rerolls into lethal hits, which is good, I guess, but it's a little bit sad. Each time she's selected to fight, you can discard a miracle die until the end of the phase. Each time a melee attack made by this model scores a wound, you take a mortal wound in addition to normal damage. But she only has, so she has 4 attacks, I guess. It's all right. I mean, that's fine. Do like, you have to actually wound though, so you do like 1 or 2 mortal wounds for the cost of a miracle die. Which, if you need it, you need it. But I don't know if that's that exciting of an ability. Celestians are gone. I guess that is fair. I've literally only saw them played a single time. They were kind of a weird unit, but it's sad to see them go. Junith Erudita. You can take her in any army and she just gives you a CP at the start of your command phase. All right. Windmill, slam. And she gives her unit -1 to be hit. And she joins Battle Sisters. All right, Junith. Also, she's like 2+4+6 wounds. She's also not a vehicle. It's kind of weird. You could probably just play her by herself. I don't even know if you need a unit for her. She could just wander around and have a twin-linked heavy flamer. Yeah, Junith seems solid. Play the crap out of that character. Missionary gets sustained hits 1. So the question I was having was like, is this sustained hits 1 if you can join Sacrosanct, which you can't, so just kidding, it doesn't really matter. It's basically, if you're below starting strength, sustained hits 1 is better than reroll 1s, or reroll hit rolls at that point. So it's better than the Canoness's ability, but only in melee. But the Canoness affects your ranged attacks too, though, which is different. And you can reroll hits unless you're battle shocked, just like the Preacher from Militarum. Yeah, does Junith's ability trigger if she's in a Rhino? I don't think she does. So Junith in a Rhino doesn't seem that great, because I don't think she's on the battlefield at that point. She's embarked in a transport. I could be wrong about that, but I don't believe that she would gain UCP if she's inside a transport. I think you just like hide her in your deployment zone and she's like a little screener person. I wish that, like, honestly, chat, I wish that leader abilities just triggered. I wish they were just like this model's unit gains a thing. Because I hate that once the unit is gone or you don't attach her, then it turns off. It's like stupid and doesn't make sense. Like, she's -1 to be hit if she has a bunch of people around her, but as soon as she's by herself, she's +1 to be hit. Like, what? I don't know. It's very dumb. Oh, yeah, just the fact that you can put her in a Rhino is funny. Yeah, for sure. I don't disagree with that. That is hilarious. Oh, is it on the back of her card she doesn't go into transports? No. Do transports say they can't take her? Can a transport jump pack? Is she a jump pack model? She has fly. No. Weird. Fly, but no jump pack. Infantry, but doesn't count as extra. I don't know. It's kind of bizarre, but it is what it is. I think they're just like, it's fine. You probably won't put her in a transport. Celestine. While you're below starting strength, you return one destroyed model to its unit. Sick. Celestine gets a 4+ feel no pain, so she's good against precision. The first time she's destroyed, you could set her back up on the battlefield. And then can you set her up multiple times with Divine Intervention? Oh no, you just can't use it on her. Just kidding. Fair enough. She just does it herself. She just Thanos' it. Fine, I'll do it myself. She can join Zephyrim or Seraphim. But she doesn't do anything for the unit, though. She's just sort of there. I guess it's fair. She can Deep Strike. She's Devastating Wounds, Strength 6, AP 3, 2 damage. And she shoots with a heavy AP2 Heavy Flamer. That's pretty good. Kind of where she hasn't, like, she's just sort of hitting people with a sword. She's not really, like, supporting anything. It's very parasitic character. Triumph of St. Catherine, we've already seen. We haven't seen is what they could join, which is Battle Sister squads. But you can make a Battle Sister squad be like 38 wounds, right? If you take a Triumph in it, which is pretty cute. And it just grants abilities within 6 inches of its model, right? Yeah. So it doesn't do anything for the unit, but it is going to affect itself with its own auras, so it is going to buff them in that way. Yeah, you can regenerate Morbin for sure, which is pretty good, especially because she's going to like mix it up with some Paragon Warsuits. Ephrael Sturgeon and Kaiganil. Forces people within 12 inches and visible to take leadership checks in the shooting phase. If they fail, they take 3 mortal wounds. And you can heroically intervene them for free. Meh. Anti-Chaos 2+ in melee. Get wrecked. Yeah, how far the Mighty has fallen here. Oh, they have fight first, I guess. That's alright, but not an amazing weapon profile, honestly. Kind of surprising she doesn't have devastating wounds because she used to ignore invuln saves. You would sort of expect that. She used to be like AP4, no invulns. Battle Sisters. We've seen before. They get miracle dice when when they destroy people. They can use miracle dice for free. And they gain miracle dice when they hold objectives. I appreciate that all of the missions are baked around these abilities, by the way, because they all have a deployment zone objective you can trigger them off of, and even if it doesn't count for scoring, it always counts for gaining those effects, which is pretty cool. Oh, Celestine revives people. Yeah, I guess that's fair. She's like an apothecary. I get that. Novitiates. No base scout on novitiates. I kind of expected that, honestly. They get rerolls and full hit rerolls if they target somebody on objectives, but they're strength 4 AP 0, 2 attack, so that's not even that exciting. Astrid and Agatha. You get devastating wounds. Hell yeah. And you can improve miracle dice used by the unit. But it's melee weapons get devastating, not range weapons. Even though you can attach them to retributors. What are you doing, Cat? Oh, only 10 on Battle Sister squads? That is a little sad. No more 20 model Battle Sister squads? Aw. Inky, what do you think about the new Adeptus Sororitas index? Tell me all about it. The Imagifier can join, in addition to Palatines, Junith, or Canoness, and they grant reroll Miracle Dice when your sister's units are destroyed. All right. And they get a 4+ invulnerable save. Or a 2+ armor save to Sacrosaunts. Kind of feels like stapled to Sacrosaunts, honestly. Dialogus. While you're leading a unit and you perform an active fate, the result of the miracle dice used is changed to a 6. Staple that to like Retributors, right? And you can be battle shocked and still be targeted by stratagems. It seems fine. Preacher, get +1 to wound. But they don't attach to everything else. But Arcoflagellants might be sweet. Sacrosaunts are -1 to be wounded while being... Oh yeah, they have the bodyguard ability. So while they're joined by a character, they're -1 to be wounded. You could take 10, they're 3+, 4+, and you can improve them to a 2+. And then they get cover easily, so they're like probably a 1+ armor save. I don't know, that seems okay. Not amazing in melee though. Strength 5, AP 2, 1 damage. Only 2 attacks. Ugh. Bleh. They're just tanky. They're just kind of tanky. Hospitaller can join another unit. Oh, so I guess you have to choose between a Feel No Pain and a 2+ save. You don't get both. And they can heal characters. That's actually kind of interesting because you can get precisioned and then respawn the character and then have the Hospitaller heal them. That's kind of cute. If somebody like shoots your character with a sniper rifle and then they just divide intervention to bring them back, it doesn't really matter how many wins they come back with because the Hospitaller just brings them back to full. Dugmata improves OC by 1, and enemies get -1. Battle shock, whatever. Paragon Warsuits. How many can we take? 3? Just 3. They can fall back, shoot, and charge, which is kind of whatever. Oof. They're a 2+, 4+. With twin-linked bolters or twin-linked crack grenade launchers. Oof. And multi-meltas. And then you like just staple Morbin Ball into these ladies and they get full rerolls. But they lost their damage reduction. So they're just kind of... They're probably going to die. But they are like 2+ save. They get cover now. So like probably a 1+ save. You can Miracle Dice them. They're not automatically dead, but they do seem a little squishy at only 4 wounds. Repentia. Get full rerolls and full wound rerolls in melee. Well, at least Repentia continued to be great. Only 2 attacks, though. Yeah, the problem is, like, these melee profiles are so bad. Everything's like Strength 5, AP 2, 2 attacks. And you're like, okay. You can, like, strap for +1 to wound or something, but... I mean, honestly, like, almost who cares? It's just not enough attacks to make melee worthwhile. The Crusaders are can be added to can have preachers attached to them. It's just a big unit. I thought for a second they were like an attachment to a preacher, but it's the other way around. They're 2 attack, strength 4, AP 2, 1 damage, 4+ invul, and 3+ armor. 1 wound. Okay. Death Cult Assassins. Reroll 1s to wound against character units. Okay. Kind of whatever. Dominions. Get a 6-inch scout, regenerate miracle dice, all the normal stuff. Just normal stuff. They have a 6-inch scout and assault weapons, so they can advance and shoot, which is kind of cute. It's like the same as non-Bloody Rose Sisters. Yeah, it's what it kind of feels like, for sure. And like, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird if like unit sizes are restricted and you're kind of, in order to make these profiles good, you're like baked in on +1 to hit, +1 to wound from the Grim Demeanor effect. But then if your unit size is small, then you're just going to take massive casualties and then die. And I'm pretty sure that like a T3 3+ armor is just going to get killed by all the flamer Overwatch in the game. There's like so much of that. This ladies go to strength 5 on the charge, which is okay. Reroll advance to charge. No +1 to wound anymore though, and only 3 attacks a model. Yeah. I guess you can pay a CP for +1 to wound. So they win vehicles on 4s, but it's not enough attacks to really dent them. It only AP 2. Retributors don't have any way to get around the heavy penalty, right? So they're just rerolling wound rolls of 1. I guess they kind of need a cannon S to reroll their hit rolls. And then they get reroll wounds of 1 and they get miracle dice sometimes. So like, they get 2 cherubs. I don't know. Retributors seem fine still. Not great, but okay, I guess. You could shoot them at the top of a rhino even. Mortifiers. Also, do you have to take all 4 heavy weapons? Yeah, they start with heavy bolters and can replace with flamers or multi-meltas, yeah. Oh, the Canonist doesn't go in Retributors? Oh my god. God, the leader ability is stupid. Fuck. Yeah, you're right. What? Okay. Who does go in Retributors? Wait, somebody did. Oh, it's called Retributor Squad, that's why. Oops, who was I just on? Go back. Astrid. And Magifiers. So all the little characters, is that right? Yeah, so you could do this one to like auto 6 your miracle dice, which is something. Could get a 4+ invulnerable save, whatever. I guess you just take the Dialogus, yeah. +1 to wounded melee. Yeah, wow. All right, well, that's bizarre. Mortifiers are sustained hits 1. And they are okay at fighting. Strength 10 AP 3 is okay. Mortifiers seem like they could be all right. Because they're basically weapon skill 2 because of sustain 1. They have twin buzzblades. So they're strength 10, AP 3 rerolling wounds. And they can take any number of heavy flamers. Yeah, I bet mortifiers are actually sweet. They're only T6 4+ save, but they have a 5+ feel no pain, so it's like it's fine, I guess. They're still gonna die, but hopefully it takes long enough to kill them that it's okay. And they're like they slap super hard in melee, and they have really good Overwatch. Yeah, I think mortifiers are pretty good. Yeah, their flamers are twin link too. They're no AP, but they ignore cover and twin linked. So that's solid. This is probably the profile I'm the most impressed of in the thing so far, in the index so far, which is not saying much to be fair. Penitent engines, advanced in charge. Oh, their penitent engines are just the same. Well, Ash, your list of a billion penitent engines and mortifiers is probably still playable. They just have assault weapons, so they can advance and shoot and charge. And they can active faith now. Whoa! We're getting somewhere. Get a couple sixes in there, you're like auto 6 the advance roll, auto 6 the charge roll. Nobody joins these units, right? Probably not. Can't like randomly put a preacher in there. No, that would be too good. Well, that's something. Oh, you could. They're only units of 2 though. Oh Jesus. Yeah, that's fair. Well, at least you can take 8 of them, right? That's something. Not quite the same as it was, but it's something. And I guess then you get like Morbin Ball on her full rerolling Paragon Warsuit team too. So like you can get the big vehicle spam also. Exorcists we saw before. Pretty good. Castigators just have a regular battle cannon. Oh my god, this is a wall of text. Each time it makes an attack with its auto cannons, not its battle cannon. The target's infantry, you reroll the hit roll. If it is a battle cannon, it rerolls the hit roll against monsters and vehicles instead. Then it forces battle shock on one of those units. Okay. I don't know if I'm that excited about rerolling my hit rolls on my Strength 10 EP1 weapon. Oh, the battle cannon ignores cover. Actually, no, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. AP1 ignore cover is we're talking. We're in the discussion at least. It's not great, but it's something. They're T10. They're not the most survivable thing in the world, but they don't die immediately. If these are cheap, I think they're probably okay. I didn't notice that ignored cover. That's all right. If it was 1 to 4, you could run 3 and get +1 to wound. They were single models. Yeah, I guess they just don't benefit from the +1 to wound detachment ability. It's kind of shitty. Yeah, it's like these unit size restrictions feel so arbitrary. It definitely feels like this copy paste, like just have everything. Everything is according to whatever's in the box, without like thinking about what that actually does to the unit. Yeah, it definitely feels lazy for sure. Immolator has fire support. And itself as all twin-linked weapons. There's something there. I wonder if you can do like Flamer Retributor squads. For some reason they have a twin flamer, not a twin-linked flamer, which I guess theoretically is like basically the same. But they could take like double multi-meltas, and then you could take like a bunch of flamers or a bunch of multi-melta ladies, and they full reroll. They reroll their wound rolls anyway. They don't. The problem with Retributors is hitting, I think. Arco-Flagellants. You can double their attacks and they get hazardous, but their strength 5 AP 0 hit on 4s. And you can buff them with the Preacher, right? But that's about it. Jesus, these AP values, man. They're just not going to punch through anything. They do also have Acts of Faith and Feel No Pain 4+ with 2 wounds. Like, are they solid? They need like, oh, they're twin linked, I guess. But the problem is that AP 0, they're just gonna bounce off a lot of stuff. They need They need like AP 1 or 2 or devastating wounds. If this unit was devastating wounds, it'd be fucking sick. It feels just like the punching is a little bit weak. I like the engines. I like the immolators. Where did the immolator go? I think the tanks are maybe okay. Like, the vehicles are definitely the standout. The infantry feels kind of dead on arrival. But the infantry feels alright. Or the tanks feel alright, for sure. Battle Sisters Dominions are novitiates, can split into 2 units. So you can actually embark half the units in the Codex. Nice. Throw one Redemptor in front of Sisters and they fall apart? Well, I mean, maybe. I think they have enough, like they'll Miracle Dice you to death, for sure. You know, they're inconsistent, but, like, once they convert wound rolls, they'll kill you. And, like, Morven Val's team is still, like, 6 Melta shots with full rerolls, which is, like, spiky as fuck, but it could blow you up. It doesn't feel like they just can't crack armor. It just feels like they sort of struggle. But maybe the points are okay. I hope they're super cheap and you can just spam a bunch of ladies. Yeah. Yeah, I do agree that it is a sad time for any army that's relying very heavily on infantry is, like, sort of in a really bad spot these days. Definitely. All right, we'll push through to Custodes. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to hope they went down, right? I'm also, to be fair, like, Sisters being the Flamer army is, like, an okay place to be. It's sad that they don't have any, like, cool 2 damage, like, Twin Linked Flamers or something. But it does mean that they're okay defensively. Like, having tons and tons of flamethrowers is not too bad. Custodes. Yeah, we saw their stances already. And they get a 4+ against mortal wounds, which doesn't seem that relevant. Might be good against that one Grey Knights dude.
Welcome to the vehicle meta. My Tau Armored Company was just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, that's, your prescience is being rewarded, I guess. Let's see. +1 to wound against monsters and vehicles. We saw that. Pretty good. +1 attack if you're below starting strength, or +2 if you're below half. Also good. Arcane Genetic Alchemy is -1 damage. Hell yeah. Unwavering Sentinels. You fight first! Ugh. Oh, in range of an objective marker. So they basically have that, like, they have that 1 CP interrupt still. That seems solid. Actually super good. Not just solid. Because they can... It's not even interrupts, because they just fight before charging units for 1 CP. Vigil Unending. You can regenerate a guy, but only once. And Sworn Guardians, you can obsec objectives for 1 CP. But not with Anathema Psychana. Get wrecked. That's weird, like, half of them are randomly not Sisters of Silence, but the other ones are. These stratagems seem insane, by the way. +1 to wound. So you have a +1 to wound for 1 CP. Fight first for 1 CP. +1 attacks for 1 CP. Sometimes. -1 damage. Return a destroyed model, which is maybe fine. And then obsec for 1. These are all amazing. Oh, fights versus 2? Oh, you're right. Yep. Enhancements. You get the mortal wounds thing and the start of fight. Oh, ends of charge. So it impact attacks. And once per battle after you end a charge move, you battle shock everybody within 6. Or you force battle shock. The mortal wounds on the charge is actually relevant. Inspirational Exemplar. Bear has a leadership 5+, and it becomes a chaplain. Veiled Blade, +2 attacks and melee. And once per battle, triple the objective control of the bearer. What the fuck are these enhancements, by the way, chat? Can we compare these to like the like sisters or no, compare these to the Grey Knights enhancements, right? The Grey Knights enhancements are like guys. +1 to charge. And then the custodians are over here like, I don't know, man. Fall back, shoot, and charge, and we get a reactive move once per game. Also +2 attacks and triple objective control. Like, are you kidding me? What the fuck are these enhancements? Holy shit. I hope they're very expensive because they're all 2 enhancements put together. That's like fucking wild. Okay. Starting strong with custodian guards. They get full rerolls on objectives. Love that. I think the question for them, this army is going to be survivability. The ability to commit, like to actually have custodian guards survive for multiple turns on objective is really the open question. So they're a 2+, 4+. They can go to 4 wounds if they take the shield, and they're T6. You're probably the Sentinel Blades are only 1 damage now unlike the spears, so that's a pretty big difference. And once per battle, they can shoot 2 times. And they get full rerolls against enemies on objective marker. Or, well, within range of objective marker you control. Oh my god. So as long as they take an objective, they get full rerolls. Both shooting and melee. Whoa. Henry paid extra, yeah. They just want Henry Cavill to like them, so they're trying real hard. Wardens have the mini transhuman. Once per battle, they can get a 4+ feel no pain. And a Vexilla adds +1 objective control, which these guys can also take. But they don't get rerolls. Meh. Alaris Custodians, we've already seen, right? Reroll wounds against characters, monsters, or vehicles. So, like, I don't know. It kind of feels like you just rock whatever dudes get full rerolls. Like, you can source full rerolls on a bunch of these units, and you just windmill slam all those guys on the table and then hope for the best. Alaris Custodians, OC2, so they can go to OC3. It's a little bit interesting. What do they give up for taking the Vexilla? Oh, they get a Misericordia instead of a cool axe or spear. And then once per battle, they can redeploy themselves. Virtus Praetors are lances. Only AP2, though. And they have little mini hurricane bolters. And a kind of awkwardly statted salvo launcher. Once per battle, after they end an advance move, you can bomb someone. But they can't do anything after they advance, right? None of their weapons are assault. None of their abilities let them do stuff. Maybe characters do. This feels like, I don't know, Virtus Praetors feel like kind of a miss. Their guns aren't that good. Their melee's fine. It's kind of whatever. The bombing effect is fine, but it only works on advancing. They're really good at advancing, but if they can't do anything after they advance, then you're probably taking this very expensive unit. Also, they're T6. Not that T6 to T7 is like a big difference, but it's weird that they're just the same. They're the same defensive profile as a shield foot custodian. Maybe they're way cheaper. This kind of feels like a profile that's like significantly cheaper than it was. Because they were previously like 80 points a model, right? Maybe they're like 60 or 70. Prosecutors, they get a bunch of bonuses in Psychers. We've seen them. Vigilators, we've also seen against Psychers be really good. -1 to be hit in melee. That's pretty good. Oh, excuse me. Witch Seekers force battle shock on people. Works in Overwatch too, not just during your shooting phase. The Shield Captain. The start of the fight phase, select one kata until the end of the phase. It stands as active for models in the unit. In addition, and once per battle, you get all of them. Why have both of these abilities? They both those seem like they are. It's like these are the same picture basically. You're like, guys, we can have a bunch of different stances, but really, it's only going to matter 1 to 2 turns per game, and the turn that it does matter, we're just going to get all of them. So who cares? Strategic Mastery, once per battle round, they just have rights of battle. Okay. Blade Champion can only be attached to, yeah, these guys get Guard and Wardens. Blade Champion gets the same. And grants Advance and Charge. Okay. All right. I guess the Shield Captain's like rights of battle is super sick. But Advance and Charge for Blade Champion super sweet. And they get the Heroic Intervention for free. They either swing 5 times with Devastating Wounds, 9 times with Sustained Hits, or 6 times with Precision. Alea grants Fight First. And Grim Demeanor. Okay. Seems good in a, who is it? The Vigilators are the fighty ladies? Yeah, seems good in a Vigilator squad. Silence Rhino. Still has the Final Pin against psychic attacks, which is great. The Knights and Shira gives +2 to advance and charge rolls. And -1. Oh, and forces desperate escape checks. Shield Captain gets rights of battle. And he fights on death. Kind of whatever. The Dawn Eagle Shield Captain gets rights of battle, and when they consolidate, each model unit can move up to 6 instead of 3. Once per battle, at the end of the fight phase, if it is within engagement range, it can fall back as if it were your movement, or make a normal move as if it were your movement. That's okay, but the thing to keep in mind is that they're mounted, so they can't go through walls anymore. So it's not quite the hit and run I think people would want it to be, but it seems still solid. It's not really what I was expecting, though. Trajan, we've already seen Trajan, right? He gives you fight first. What can he join? Guard and Wardens. So he's just in a big guard brick, right? Fight first once per game and you ignore characteristic modifiers, yeah. Venerable Contemptor responds itself. I think we've seen that one before. Land Raider is just a normal Land Raider. And that can fit 8 dudes inside? Oh, 6. I guess it's any Custodian Infantry, so you can fit like 5 Terminators and a Captain inside a Land Raider, which is kind of cool. I don't dislike that. It feels eggs and baskety though. So I think the big question for these guys, like this is the faction that's probably defined entirely by points. all of their squads are super sick in melee, but the problem is sort of delivery. And if it costs them too much to get there, then they're gonna have a tough time. But once they're there, it's gonna be good. Yeah, Custodes raw data sheets look great, but I don't know if that's gonna be if they're gonna hold up. I think there's a non-zero chance they run into the middle of the table and get shot to death, but we'll have to see. You do have -1 damage, like for free every battle round if you have a character. All right, Adeptus Mechanicus. What do they have for strats? You can get -1 to wound in the fight phase. Not vehicles though, which is awkward. +1 to wound in your shooting phase against non-vehicles. Jesus. Okay. Oh, 2 CP though. That's a lot. Tech priests can like orbital strike an objective. Okay. All right. Aggressor imperative is advance and charge, which we talked about, which is being great. Vengeful fallout. Have a reactive shot. Ooh. Okay. And bulwark imperative gives you a 4+ invulnerable save. Okay. It's kind of weird that Adeptus Mechanicus feel like they may have been one of like the first indexes for them to build, because they have these stratagems where you can only use them during certain imperatives, versus where if this was any other faction, it feels like this would be like models in the unit get the 5+ invulnerable save. If Protector Imperative is active, they get a 4+ invulnerable save or something. They would be modal rather than exclusive. Enhancements. You can switch your imperative for somebody within 12, that's very good. It means that you can like get the benefit of Protector for most of the unit, but for most of the army, but then you can also switch that for guys that are running out and charging. Master Annihilator gets sustained 1 on a unit, which is solid. Oh, excuse me. Omni Sterilizer 3 to the attacks characteristic of the bearer's range weapons. They get anti-infantry 2 and anti-monster 4. Jesus. And then excoriating emanation gains stealth. All of these seem great, actually. We have to see what kind of weapons this can benefit, but these all seem really good. Start with the Archaeopter. The nice little bomb. Stratoraptor, yeah, these are all the aircraft sort of do normal aircraft stuff. The Transvector, if it starts the game in hover and in strategic reserve, it can deep strike on turn 1. Whoa, all right. So you get turn 1 deep strikes with these guys with 11 Skitarii. Belisarius Call, we saw already. Corpuscari. Are -1 to be wounded. Weird. They're like bodyguards. Okay, but they're like T3, 1 wound, 5+ invuln, so they're all just gonna die. Yeah, don't know if I love these guys, to be honest. Sustain 2 is good, but Call gives reroll 1s, not full rerolls. Cybernetic Adeptus is a leader. Can he join robots? Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. And you can add multiple Cybernetic Adeptus to Castellan robots. That's cute. If he's leading a Castellan robot unit, you can set that unit's battle protocol. Take a leadership test. If it's passed, it enters the protocol of your choice. Why would you take multiple? So you can attempt to set multiple protocols? Or like attempt it multiple times in case you fail the leadership 7 check. I guess. +2 attacks with ranged weapons, +2 attacks with melee weapons, +1 toughness. All those seem good. Weird that they don't start in one, right? It only works in your command phase. So like if you go second, your opponent just like gets to shoot them without penalty. Castellan robots get 4+ feel no pain while a data smith is leading. I guess you also get like, oh, the data smith gets a 4+ feel no pain. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? Each range attack is allocated to a Castellan robot model. It reflects mortals on 6s, and they're equipped with twin fists and a incendine combustor. And they can take phosphor blasters in close combat. Okay. So the phosphor blasters, you can add +2 to all of their ranged attacks, right? So they get D6 +2 torrent shots, and then they would get 5 twin-linked phosphor shots. AP 0 sucks, but ignore cover is good. Fulgurites, also still bodyguards. They're devastating wounds in melee, but that's it. Electro Priest, I don't know, man. Ballistari, fallback, shoot, and charge, and they just have 1-shot twin-linked weapons. Yeah, that's all right. Breachy boys. Heavy arc rifles look sweet. Each time a model in the unit makes an attack roll, hit roll of 1 if they're within 6 inches of Admech battle line. Oh yeah, this is the battle line matters faction for sure. Robots look fine, chat. I don't know if they're like nuts though. They've always been kind of derpy and expensive. They're only 7 wounds. They're only T9. They're like 2+, 5+. I mean, I think they're okay, but like I don't know. All their ballistic skill is only 4+. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm missing combos, but they don't seem like that insane to me. Knights don't have a single precision attack. Let me tell you about the stratagem called Epic Duel, chat. Knights sure do have a precision attack. Cataphragm Breachers get full hit rerolls if they're within 6 inches of battle line, which should be most of the time. And they have sweet heavy arc rifles. So within 18 inches, they shoot 4 times. And anti-vehicle 4+. Seems good. Much better than the crappy torsion cannon. Jesus Christ. Oh, anti-infantry too, I guess. It seems alright. And then their anti-vehicle 4 in melee. Cataphon Breachers seem real strong. If they're cheap enough. If they're cheap enough to spam, and you can shoot a bunch of times with the arc rifles, they seem good. Cataphron Destroyers get anti-vehicle 2, but only AP 1. But 4 attacks. And the Plasma Culverins are just big plasma guns that shoot 4 times. Phosphor Blaster is whatever. You almost just take the Cognis Flamer, right? Just for Overwatch stuff. Something Overwatch. Onager Dune Crawler. Is a neutron laser good? 2 shots, strength 16, AP 4, D6 +1 damage. Only 4+ ballistic skill though. It's a little sad, but that is a good profile right there. That's a well, I guess it's D6 +1. It's a fine profile. We should say. I don't know if it's that good. Icarus Array is kind of bad. The Eradication Beamer is kind of bad. Yeah. Dunecrawler has a weapon you can't equip. You need 10 las cannons, but realistically, las cannons are like full rerolling. So really, do you actually need 10 or do you need like 4? Where's the Dunecrawler? Where am I going? What can't it equip, chat? So there's Eradication Beamer, Doomcrawler legs. It can replace the Eradication Beamer with Daedalus Missile Launcher and Icarus, Neutron, and Stubber, or Onager Phosphor Blasters. Can be equipped with 1 additional Cognitus Heavy Stubber. Can take Broad Spectrum and Smoke Launchers. Which one doesn't it equip? The Heavy Phosphor Blaster? Oh, because it has the Onager Twin Phosphor Blaster? Yeah, that's weird. They just like copy pasted an extra profile onto its datasheet you didn't need. That's fair. That's funny. Terexi. They slow people down, but only on a 4+. It's a little bit weird. Cerberus Raiders have Tactica Obliqua built in. Sulfur Hounds also slow people down on a 4+. Oh, is it Mortal Wounds? Is it the Mortal Wounds that happen on a 4? No, these guys set people alive on a 4+. The Sulfur Hounds, oh, just have impact attacks. Okay. Servitors we know about. Sicarian Infiltrators we've already seen, right? Oh no, we saw Rust Stalkers. Infiltrators give -1 to leadership checks. It's kind of whatever. Not that excited about those guys. Rust Stalkers are fast as fuck, boy. Anti-infantry 3 with devastating wounds. Oh my god, dude. Woof. Only weapon skill 4 though. Get wrecked. Weapon skills, their weapon skill sucks, but holy crap, do they do damage to infantry. Skutari Marshals. Reroll hit rolls. Alright, well. We're coming back. So you can get full hit rerolls plus like sustain 1. And once per turn you can double use a stratagem. Skutari Rangers have OBSEC and 6-inch scout move. That's very strong. What's their base unit size? Still 10. So you can't take units of 5 anymore, so they're going to be kind of expensive. Skutari Vanguard reduce objective control, which is very good too. So I guess you can't take the big bricks of 20 anymore, right? So we can't like attach a marshal to a huge unit and then buff all of them. It does make their infantry much less exciting. Interesting that the arc rifle has devastating wounds, but the heavy arc rifle doesn't. Right? That's very strange. But the arc rifle still seems like an incredibly strong profile. How many special weapons do they get? 1. They get 1 of each. Ugh. Yuck. That sounds like an obnoxious unit to roll out of. Yeah, I mean, at least the AdMech never got units of 30. I think they kind of wanted to give that buff to blast weapons, but they were like, big units will be too weak because blast weapons will be good against them. So nobody will take them. We might as well remove them anyway. I don't know. It feels kind of weird and inefficient. I think it also let them like add a bunch more like respawn mechanics and stuff to the game. It's a little bit weird that Guard got 20 model units, but other factions lost theirs though. Especially because Skutari went to a Guard profile. It's very strange. These guys seem alright. The Pharamite Cannon rerolls against monsters, or gets +1 to get hit against monsters and vehicles. The Belarus Energy Cannon gets +1 to hit against infantry. Pharamite Strength 12 AP 3 D6 damage, 3 shots. That's okay. And they just have a billion stubbers with sustained one. Dune Riders carry guys around. What a shocker. Sidonian Dragoons. I feel like this army feels like the spikiest out of all of them. They're all like hitting on 4s, basically. I'm actually kind of like, I don't know. I sort of expected these characters to be a little bit more exciting. Turn-Priest Dominus grants a feel no pain. And can take over vehicles. Engine Seer is the same as the one in Militarum. The Manipulus grants lethal hits. That's something, but then you lose you can't take the rerolls that you get from the Vanguard, but I guess they only join the cult units. Oh no, they can join Skitarii, just kidding. So you could take lethal hits and then breachers full reroll against models on objectives, right? So that might be like the way to go. And they have a devastating wounds gun at 2 damage, so you could give them like the anti-infantry, and they're like D6 plus 2 anti-infantry 2 plus devastating wounds on the if you give him the buff. Or you just take sustain, you get sustain lethal combination. I don't know. And once per battle, you can give the entire unit a 4+ vulnerable save. Yeah, he seems like he's stapled to a big breacher brick. How many breachers can we take? Please say 6. Where are those guys at? Oh, they're so far away. Cataphront destroyers. 6. Nice. Breachers. Also 6. Nice. Okay. Well, that seems like a pretty solid unit. And then the Techno Archaeologist gives +1 objective control. That seems all right. He's like, you can give him +1 objective control and then attach him to Skitarii Vanguard and then reduce people's objective control. So you just never lose an objective until they die. But I don't know if you're actually going to do that. And then that's all the data sheets. Not much there. Yeah, it definitely feels like I was expecting a little bit more out of the characters for sure. It kind of feels like the Breacher. It feels like the Cataphront show, honestly. This Skitarii stuff was less exciting for me. There's no support for Sicarians and Taraxi. Because Admech has no character for them. Yeah, well, they just have the battle line stuff, right? So they have to be like next to a Skitarii unit, and then they get buffs. But yeah, there's no rerolls or anything anywhere. But I mean, I don't know. I want to be like, but they said like that's what happened to every faction, except like half the factions of the game just have full rerolls on a stick. Fucking Chaos Space Marines pay SCP and get full rerolls. Like, I don't know if weapon skill, ballistic skill 4+ like really cuts it. All right, we're on the last laugh, the last what's the word? Leg of the journey here through the Imperium of Man. Yeah, the getting heavy with Protector Imperative is cool, but it's like heavy is just like so narrow a use case. It's possible that you get heavy, but I don't know if it's like that common. All right, Knights, what have you got for me? +1 leadership within 6. Mysterious Guardian. At the end of your opponent's turn, you can redeploy. Mythic Hero. You get a second Bondsman ability. And Banner of Macarius Triumphant gives you objective secured, and then they get a 5th one for some reason. -1 AP. Questoris only! Wait, the Chaos Knight one is not Questoris only, but the Imperial Knight one is? Oops. That's not what I meant to do. That's insane. Is that really the case? Let me go back to the Chaos Knight one. Chaos Knights. Chaos Knights only. What the fuck? It's the same ability, but the Chaos Knights one is strictly better. I guess, like, I don't know, maybe they're like, the detachment rolls aren't as tanky, so maybe we make them a little bit worse. That's bizarre. I don't know. It just feels weird. It feels weird and icky. All right. What do we get? Shoulder the burden, I think we already saw, right? If you've lost 1 or more wounds, you can pay 2 CP, and you get a bunch of bonuses. Thunder Stomp. I guess they didn't want you to stack a 2+ save with 2+1 save effects. So you could go down to a 0+, and then potentially cover, so a -1 up. I guess I understand that. But maybe the Dominus Knights should not have had a 2+ save. I don't know. Let's what if that? Until the end of the phase, your model cannot target monster or vehicle units, but all melee weapons equipped by your model have the devastating wounds. That seems fine, but ultimately kind of whatever. Rotate ion shields, you get a 4+ invulnerable save. Squire's Duty, 2 armigers. Wow, these are just like you get +1 AP with 2 armigers against a single enemy target that you have to shoot at with everything. If you're honored, you get +1 damage. Trophy Claim. You get +1 to wound against an enemy unit. If you destroy that enemy, you gain a CP, but if you do not, then you can't use it again for the rest of the battle. Yeah, we saw that one in the preview article. And Valiant Last Stand. Before rolling, if it deals mortal wounds for deadly demise, it can fight. You cannot target Sir Hector. Like Sir Hector, like the pilot of Canis Rex, not actually Canis Rex himself? That's funny. All right. Armigers. You get anti-fly 2+. Okay. And otherwise they're just 8 shot, strength 9, AP 1, 3 damage. Kind of boring. Warglaives, sustained hits 1 on the charge. Thermal spears are really good though. And Warglaives are T10, 12 wounds. I think it seems like Knights are largely just going to be kind of relying on their defensive profile. It doesn't feel like they have that many actually like impactful abilities. They're just like tanking really hard. While a model is affected by its bondsman, you get lethal hits and lance. Bondsman abilities are explained in here. Yeah. For each one it does, you target an armiger and they gain it. But it doesn't look like they get -1 damage anymore, which is honestly probably fine. Everybody's got like a 5+ damage ignore, right? What do they have? 6+? 6+. Once per phase, you get a floating reroll on hit, wound, or saving throws. That's really good. So like both your opponent's shooting and fight, you get saving throw rerolls. But also, it's every phase, so you can reroll in your movement phase when you get overwatched. And then your shooting and fight, you get like hit or wound rerolls and then back to their shooting and fight, and you still get saving throw rerolls. It's a very strong ability. Errant grants assault. Each time you make a ranged attack against the closest eligible, you get +1 to hit. And these are all the same profiles that we've seen from Chaos Knights as well. So we talked about like the thermal cannon being pretty strong. The Gallant. Knight Gallant. Can reroll charge rolls for its bondsman, and you get reroll hits in melee. -1 to be hit in melee itself. That's solid. Again, these guys are just tanking. They just have every defensive ability added onto them. Wardens. If you target not monsters and vehicles, you get devastating wounds, and they can grant -1 damage to armigers. So that's pretty good. They lost the ability to lock in bondsman abilities, all right? So they have to like remain, keep the armigers within 6 inches or within 12 inches of the big knights. Honestly, I don't know if it used to be that these little armigers with all of the bondsman abilities were sort of nuts, so, but they do feel much worse than the 9th edition versions. And he gets the big. He gets a 1 melee weapon and 1 ranged weapon. Yeah. Crusaders. Bondsman's for +1 to hit with ranged attacks. If you remain stationary, he gets sustained hits 1. That's pretty good. And he cannot replace his Avenger Gatling, so he's stuck with the Gatling cannon. Oh, you can target the big knights with the bondsman abilities? No, select 1 armiger. Yeah. You can't, yeah, you can still only target armigers with bondsman. That would be crazy. There would just be no reason to play armigers at that point. I think you just like windmill slam 4 or 5 big knights on the table and then say go. The Preceptor. They don't have one because the only painted one they have is Canis Rex. Wrecked. +1 leadership, +2 objective control. That one doesn't actually feel that worthwhile. Honestly, as soon as you're like OC 10+, I think you just like are unassailable on an objective is what it feels like. Because nothing survives in this edition, like the OC mechanic feels sort of, I don't know, kind of superfluous. Once a knight is on an objective, they have it permanently until you can kill them. He swears an oath against somebody, rerolls hits against them. 1 unit in your opponent's army at the start of the battle. Yeah. Oh, the knight that grants the bond also gets it? Select 1 armiger model within 12. Until the start of your next command phase, both of those models. Oh, 1 model from your army and 1 armiger gain the ability. The model that just used the bond's ability and the armiger you selected are affected. Oh, shit. So they don't give it to each other. They give it to themselves? Fuck. All right. Oh, so I guess so you need to have armigers in order to trigger that. So they don't get it if you don't have armigers, but they do get it if they're issuing their buff. That's sort of weird. So they're disincentivizing you from playing only big knights because the armiger, because you can't trigger the buff if you don't have an armiger. Okay, I guess. So with that in mind, that's a good call out, by the way, chat. You can get lethal hits and lance, but you're already winning everything on twos. Who cares about that? I guess it's all weapons have lethal hits, so that's okay. Errant gives assault. All right. Gallant gives itself reroll hits in melee. That's pretty good. But it hits on twos anyway. All right. -1 damage for the warden. That's legitimately strong. Wardens do seem good. Can they flip out their big gun? They cannot. They're stuck with an Avenger Gatling. Yeah, that might be the downside, the downfall there. Crusader gets +1 to hit, which is good also. Okay. Well, seems like we're still the Crusader show, I guess. Castellan grants benefits of cover, which you're already getting anyway, because everything has cover in 10th edition. Oh no, that's within 6. Oh, they don't have a bondsman. They just grant cover to armigers. Meh. How come these ones still don't have bondsman abilities? It's so weird. It's so weird and strange. I think the Valiant is kind of great. In your shooting phase after each shot, you force battle shock check. That's kind of doesn't really matter, but sure. But it seems like these ones aren't as good as the Chaos Knight ones because they can't stick the Chaos Knight. They can't stick the Armor of Contempt on them. But you can put the Armor of Contempt on like the Warden or the Paladin that are already tanky, and you can really like push the tankiness really hard. And then Canis Rex, who we already saw, is nutso. We didn't see his little buddy, did we? He's a lone operative. He disembarks from Canis Rex, and then he's just like a little dude. Okay. It says he can't be selected as the target of stratagems. But there's like a call out that you can't target him anyway, right? It's weird. I guess like because it has a restriction on being able to select models that were already untargetable anyway. And then the Chaos Knight rules are here also. I guess because this is like the Knight Household Index, right? Well, Knights feel like they're supposed to be tanky. They will probably get killed by guard tanks. I don't disagree, chat. I mean, I think that's the issue with Knights like altogether is that they're just always about like being survivable, and sometimes you just see them over terrain and shoot them. But on the flip side, they do shoot back. They get the benefits of cover now, so like if you're not AP0, they're basically all a 2+ save. You kind of, I think those Hellhounds, like the Hellhounds shooting heavy bolsters at people to shoot through cover is like actually kind of a big deal. So like any of your like not AP3 weapons are gonna start bouncing off armor saves, and then they have a 6+ damage ignore. But yeah, I don't know. I think Knights it's very much like Custodes, where I think Knights are kind of points dependent, just based on the fact that they want to like swarm the board with vehicles. So if they can hit a critical mass of armigers where you can't stop them from getting to you, it's gonna be tough. But they definitely don't feel as good as Chaos Knights, I don't think, because Chaos Knight War Dogs are like independently powerful. They don't rely on bondsman abilities, and they're all like their tyrant's harder to kill. All of their War Dogs have like little support effects that buff themselves, whereas the Imperial Knights are focused on bondsman abilities that no longer provide a defensive benefit. So I don't know how to feel about it. Too much anti-vehicle and devastating wounds. Is there? Like, what has the combination of anti-vehicle devastating? Like grav guns sometimes, and arc rifles. Like, I feel like that's a and knights even get an improved damage ignore roll against mortals, right? So if you devastating wounds them, they don't even lose like that much. They just lose their base save. They don't lose, but their feel no pain gets improved. So like, I don't know. I think people are overreacting to the devastating plus anti-tank combo. I do feel like if you compare them directly to Chaos Knights, they do feel a little bit less exciting. But it could just be that their defensive technology is much stronger, so it's probably fine. Probably have to play it, and you for sure have to see points. Oh, and the harpoons, yeah, the Thunder Coil harpoon. But honestly, like they have the best defensive profile against Thunder Coil harpoons, so it's like it's probably still fine. I I I think people are I don't know, people are like upset about the Thunder Coil harpoon, but it's a one-shot gun on a big vehicle. And they're like, "Oh, one shot's my tank." And it's like, "Yeah, that tank is like a 1/5 the cost of the knight shooting at it. Like if the knight didn't kill them in one shot, like I would be upset about it." And the knight's the Valiant's other weapons aren't even that great. The conflagration cannon is good against infantry, but it's terrible against vehicles. So I think that weapon in particular is just like kind of a meme. Chaos Knights will still field 14 War Dogs. I think the Chaos Knights windmill slam their Tyrant every time. Their Tyrant seems fucking nuts, so with the Armor of Contempt on a 2+ save. He's incredible. But yeah, otherwise I do think that they just like rock a ton of War Dogs. And Chaos Knight War Dogs look amazing. And the fact that they're like so much harder to kill than they were is really, really good. I guess that's another thing with the Imperial Knights too, is that like we haven't really seen the equivalent of T10. Like T10 is like almost T8, like the equivalent of T8 back in the day. Like Melta wounds them on 5s. A lot of anti-tank weapons wounds them on 4s or 5s. Like tons of melee wins them on 6s now. Like half the melee in the Space Marine Codex wins them on 6s. So I think they are tankier than we give them credit for, and adding a feel no pain on top of that, I think is probably more impactful than we assume. Plus, you can also still give them like -1 damage and stuff. So I think it's fine. All right, we are into Imperial Agents. Last one. Vindicare Assassin we've already seen. We've talked about them at length. The Calexis Assassin has Anti-Psyker 2, but no devastating wounds. And they get +3 attacks against Psykers. They have a 2+ feel no pain against psychic abilities. And they mess with people's leadership. Okay. They're Anti-Psyker 2 devastating wounds in melee. But they don't even seem that great against Psykers. I mean, I guess it's like a lot of 2+ wounding attacks to begin with, so they're probably fine. This guy doesn't seem like super nutso, honestly. The Eversor Assassin, in your command phase, chooses one ability, either advance, shoot, and charge. Oh, excuse me. His base move died? Jesus. He can just cross the midboard on turn 1. He's like scout move 9, advance, charge. He gets precision or sustain 3. He's anti-infantry 3 with 6 attacks. So not a ton of attacks. It also feels like he should fight first, but he doesn't. It's also anti-infantry 3, but only 1 damage, strength 4. I mean, I guess. I think you want this guy to be like scout moving and killing a bunch of enemy infiltrators or something, but the profile's uninspiring. That's all right, I guess. Compared to the Vindicator, none of these look particularly amazing. Calidus Assassin. These ones fight first. He doesn't fight first, right? No, he's just lone operative. He has Deadly Demise, which is cute. The Calidus fights first and has infiltrators and deep strike. And they can Vecta Stratagem. At the end of your opponent's turn, if it's not within engagement range of enemy units, you can remove from the battlefield and then deep strike it again. Good flamethrower, anti-infantry 2 torrent. But kind of meh. Let's see. The Rogue Trader. Is this a leader? Do they attach? Yeah. If your army includes one or more units with a warrant of trade. So while they're leading a unit, they grant the unit infiltrator. Huh. Okay. And they can attach to any battle line unit? This is going to be something dumb. Wait, can you attach these to Custodian Guard? You can, right? Because they attach to any Imperium battle line? Do they? Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's specific. I thought the article said that they did. Am I missing something? Where are their characters? Oh, it does have to say. Okay. Sad times. So it's not that all their characters can attach to battle line. It's that most of them can. That's too bad. All right. You get D3 Imperium battle line units and you can redeploy them. That's probably still good in Custodes though, because you get like a Castellan's mark sort of. To be fair though, this needs clarification because it says after you've deployed, but it theoretically could be before the roll to go first. And if it's before the roll to go first, it basically doesn't do anything. So that needs a little bit of a fixer upper. Void's men at arms get lethal hit when they target the closest enemy. Otherwise, they just have guns. All right. How big can you take them? 5 models. So you can still take like little tiny retinue units to fill in for Imperial Knights and stuff, which is probably good. The Breacher teams get reroll wounds against people on objectives, which is solid. And they have good weapons, right? Meltaguns. How many special weapons do they get? They take 1 Meltagun and a demolition charge. Problem is all like ballistic skill 4 though. The Subductor Squad. Each time a model in this unit is destroyed by a melee attack, it fights on death. That's weird. It's a strange ability for like a policeman guy to have, I guess. Start the first battle round, select one enemy unit to be the Exaction Squad's quarry. They get +1 to hit against it. Okay. And these guys get vigilance, get +1 to wound against enemies below half strength. So it's like half of the executioner ability. Yeah, I don't know. These mostly seem like fluff. They're required to be taken in units of 10, and they're just like T3, like regular infantry. Just sort of whatever. Kyria Draxus. Okay, so she can attach to Imperium Battle Line? Yeah, Inquisitor and Henchman or Imperium Battle Line units. While leading a unit, you get +1 to hit with it in your command phase. It can make the unit untargetable by range attacks outside 18 inches. In your command phase, though, not start of the battle round. So if you go second, you can't use it. That's pretty good, though. I wonder if there's like a... You attach that to like Vanguard or like Rangers with rifles or something and just make them untargetable for the whole game. You can hold like your backline objective without worrying about it. Edition isn't even out yet. We're already asking for everything to be AP1 minimum. Yeah, I mean the issue is that unless you ignore cover, like every single thing in the entire game forever, the cover rules are so poorly written that you always get you always have cover essentially. So whatever the save characteristic it appears on their profile, add 1 to that. So like, you know, a tank with a 2+ save is actually a 1+ save. You know, an infantry unit with a 2+ save is actually a 1+ save. A 3+ save becomes a 2+ save. So if you're not at least AP, if you're AP1, most of the time you're basically AP0. It's like the whole game has Armor of Contempt right now. So you need to be AP2 or 3 or ignore cover in order to have a good chance of actually punching through someone's armor and actually dealing damage to them. Cotiaz gets you a 5+ feel no pain against psychic attacks. Attacks made by demons. Okay. Spy Network, you can get CP when your opponent gains CP as a result of abilities. So I guess it's like he can jump into any of the armies that struggle with CP regen, and then he just piggybacks off your opponents, basically. I kind of love that. That's very cute. He's also kind of good at melee. He's only 3 attacks, but he's strength 9, AP 3 damage. That's solid. He can't focus his smite, but it's anti-infantry 4 devastating wounds. Well, he actually like fucks infantry super hard. Not blast, weirdly, but that's okay. Greyfax we've already talked about. Ranged weapons equipped by models in the unit have an anti-psyker 4+. And she attaches to Battle Line and Inquisitorial Henchmen. We haven't really seen too many devastating wounds on Battle Line squads. There's like grav guns in Space Marines, arc rifles in AdMech. So there's very few ways that you can like hyper abuse that in Battle Line units so far. Which is good, I guess. But she is definitely like a tech pick. Cover doesn't work against a 3+ save and 0 AP. Yeah, like whatever. It's the one specific situation, which also just means that like between that and the fact that cover has like because there's such a gap between a 3+ save with cover and a 2+ save with cover, you're basically gonna like as much as you can, you're gonna force 2+ saves into your army. So you can expect like, oh, look at this weird crop on Karamazov though, by the way. As you can basically expect that as much as people can, they're all going to be entirely 2+ save. Because they go to it's in a lot of situations you're basically +2 save over a 3+ armor. But honestly, like AP0 ignoring cover against specifically 3+ saves is not the biggest of buffs to it, and it's not enough to make it so that AP0 is okay against models in cover. That's such a band-aid. Honestly, what they should have done is just made it so that a 3+ save or better cannot benefit from cover, full stop. Just don't continue that sentence. But they didn't do that, so it is what it is. Karamazov. Gives +1 to leadership checks and -1 to enemies. And at the start of your shooting phase, you make somebody take a battle check. Yeah, it's kind of whatever. Because I got a cool Melta 3. Multi-Melta. It's an okay range weapon, actually. An aura of +1 leadership is not the worst. 3+ save with no cover would have been wild. Yeah, but it would have made like 80% of the weapons in the game actually playable. Like an autocannon profile that doesn't ignore cover right now might as well not exist. Like there's like strength 9, AP 1, 3 damage is like, ooh, 3 damage is cool, except that like 80% of the vehicles you're going to be shooting at, you wound on 5s and they save on 2s. So just don't even take it. It's just worthless. But if suddenly you can, if you can actually impact their armor save, then you have a reason to actually play it. But it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just not good. Or you just write the cover mechanics in a way that's not stupid. It turns out when you base like everyone's cover off true line of sight, the game just fucking breaks. But I don't know. Inquisitors get you a 3+ CP regen on their own unit, which is sweet. Oh yeah, we saw these guys earlier. We saw these guys before. That's not new. Eisenhorn, what's up, my guy? He's all about reading books. You double the attacks characteristic of a demon host in models of his unit. And at the start of the opponent's shooting phase, oh yeah, he can turn people from shooting off. So he's 2+, gives them -1 to hit on a 6. He makes them ineligible to shoot. I think we saw him before, right? Now the henchman squad get bonuses while an Inquisitor's leading them. When Inquisitor model is leading the unit, when each time an attack is made against the unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. So Acolytes give you the bodyguard effect. Mystics prevent reinforcements from setting up. Jacaros give you +1 to wound in melee. Or in range, excuse me. And Demon Hosts give you a 5+ invulnerable save. So that's kind of sweet. They're all the same profile, though. It seems like it's going to be 9th edition again. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, like I said, they basically gave the whole game Armor of Contempt. So if you just roll back to like Nachmund season 9th edition, where like 60% of the armies that you played against had Armor of Contempt, and if you weren't high enough AP to punch through it, you just might as well not show up. It's like basically the same. They were like, well, Armor of Contempt covers a 2+ save against like up through AP2, so you might as well take AP2 or higher. And if you're not AP3 at least, then you basically don't have an AP value. And that's like sort of, I think, where we're headed for sure. At least now there's a bunch of stuff that like remove cover from things, so you can kind of get around it. But I think it means that like that Hellhound, Pyrovores, like these random things that just like shoot cover off people, I think are kind of important. Which line of sight was just 2D in between bases? Sato-san, you're speaking my language. It's a nightmare right now. All right, let's see. So you get 4 acolytes, and then can take up to 1 demon host, 1 Jacaro, 2 mystics, and 2 gun servitors. Acolytes just have like a pistol attack? Okay. You can take multi-meltas, but they're BS5. Jacaro weapons are just 3 shots, strike 6 AP, 1, 2 damage. Who has eviscerators? Oh, acolytes can have eviscerators. And the demon host has a psychic melee attack, which Eisenhorn then buffs to Oh, double. So his demon hosts are 2x, but you only get one, so it's 8 attacks. For is it Cherubale? Is that the name of his demon host? I remember that from the old editions. I read that book at one point when I was a kid, but that was ages ago. I can't remember it now. What a weird unit. If they're cheap, like 5 Inquisitorial Henchmen. Wow, the problem is you have to attach an Inquisitor to actually turn on their abilities. So it's like 5 Henchmen, an Inquisitor, and a random dude, a Mystic. It's like a good deep strike screen, but on the flip side, it's probably like 100 points. So you might as well just buy 2 regular deep strike screens. Like just buy at that point, you just buy 5 and infiltrators or whatever, or 20 like idiot dumb like crappy guardsman equivalents. So I don't know. Maybe like Kyria Draxus in this unit with a bunch of like heavy weapon servitors, making them untargetable is okay. But even then, I don't know if that's that great. How many servitors do you get? 2? An interesting unit. I wish that the henchmen had more interesting weapons they could take. But anyway, I think that's going to wrap us for today, chat. We talked about every data sheet. I actually didn't expect to go through all of them, but we nailed it. We did it. Sisters is the worst codex we looked at today. I think that's probably the case. I'd agree with that for sure. Sisters looks very uninspiring. It's like probably Sisters. It's there's some open questions here. It definitely looks like I don't know. Like I don't know where to fit Grey Knights and Imperial Knights. I think it's probably Militarum looks like the best, and then Custodes, and then I think like Imperial Knights and Grey Knights are fighting for a spot. Grey Knights feel like they're gonna be a little pillow fisted. I don't know if how they kill stuff really. Whereas Imperial Knights are the opposite. Is like they are just hyper tanky. And then Mechanicus and then probably Sisters at the bottom, and then I don't know, the Imperial Agency, kind of whatever. Mechanicus feels like they wanted to have rerolls somewhere, and then they just made everything a 4+ ballistic skill for some reason. Like everything hits on 4s in this faction. I don't really understand why. I guess you're supposed to be like remaining stationary and getting the cover benefit, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. They gave them the option to get Armor of Contempt and the option to get +1 to hit. And then just built that into every profile instead of having it be an actual buff that you like change your game plan for. And it feels like they made it lost a lot, but they could be cheap, so I don't know. Grey Knights and Sisters will struggle against anything above strength 10, T10. Yeah. That could be the case for sure. Sisters have to like deliver mortifiers to your face, but I have no idea how they do that with units of 2. You could just like pick out the ones that you want to kill, and then you just kill the closest ones. So I don't know. Sisters like might be fine, but I think you windmill slam. You basically have to windmill slam like Paragons with Morbin, and then quad or 6 units of 2 pain engines. And then like hope for the best. Delivery is a problem, but maybe it's fine. Maybe rampant ingress is okay. Like I have no idea. Anyway, chat. I have another appointment, so I've gotta jump off. We actually finished this off in like perfect timing, so that's awesome. I'll be live tomorrow. We got Xenos tomorrow, so that's gonna be a big old one. And those are ones that I think we've seen like kind of the least of. So that's going to be interesting to run through. So I'm pretty psyched about Xenos. I hope we see some good stuff, and I hope it's not just the Eldar show all day. But Like, I don't know if any of these factions have really... I guess, like, Militarum could be super strong. If they're as inexpensive as they were previously, I think just, like, Leman Russ and big tanks just getting, like, huge defensive benefits and shooting people off the table is going to be really, really good. But I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, chat, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'll see you same time and place tomorrow. So cheers for that. Remember to keep it classy, folks. Have happy wargaming and all that stuff.